Part 93. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 921. The two of them sat there, and the buzzing sound began to gather around them again. The two of them kept fanning the surroundings with their hands, but to no avail. Tan Shahen took out the wind oil essence, and the two of them hurriedly applied it on their hands, face, and neck. These mosquitoes couldn't stand the smell of fenjujing, so they flew away one after another, but after the wind blew away the smell of fenjujing, they came back again. The two of them had no choice but to apply it again. But this time, although some of them flew away, a few got into their pants and feasted on their calves, making them extremely itchy. Zhang Chen remembered and asked Tan Shahen to open the sleeping bag. The two of them stuffed their lower bodies into the sleeping bag and felt comfortable. The wind on the top of the mountain was getting colder and colder, so it was just right to put the lower body into the sleeping bag. The two of them sat and continued chatting, sinking deeper and deeper into the sleeping bag, until finally they leaned over and fell asleep at the same time. When I woke up the next day, it was only around 6 o'clock, but the sun had already illuminated the entire top of the mountain. The two of them were lying in sleeping bags and their bodies were very hot. They quickly got out, and then they felt that their backs were sore. The two of them ate a can of 8 treasure porridge each and packed up to set off. Tan Shahen saw Zhang Chen putting all the empty water bottles he had finished drinking into his bag and asked him what he was doing. Zhang Chen said that when there is a mountain spring, you can fill it. Who knows if we have enough water? Even if we drink enough, we can use it to wash our faces. Water is not available everywhere. Tan Shahen listened and felt it made sense. The two people got off the observation shed. As soon as their feet touched the ground, they felt a sharp pain, but they persisted. This was still the second day. After another day of walking, they should get used to it. They went down the mountain in the opposite direction from yesterday and decided to head further away from the Fukun River. After walking for more than 20 minutes, Tan Shahen started singing Wu opera again. The valley below was still shrouded in mist, and the sun had not penetrated deeply yet. But Zhang Chen felt that Tan Shahen's voice had subsided. If Xiao Wu were in this valley, you should hear it. The birds in the valley were chirping in the mist. When they heard Tan Shahen singing, they seemed to chirp even more cheerfully. Zhang Chen simply joined in and shouted, "Xiao Wu, Xiao Wu." He stopped for a while, and a voice also sounded from the valley, "Xiao Wu, Xiao Wu." It seemed to be responding to his cry, but in fact it was just his echo. It seemed that the valley was not shallow. The pine forest in front of them disappeared and was replaced by a large chestnut forest. As they walked down, there were chestnut trees on both sides of the road. It was not the season for picking chestnuts yet. It seemed that few people walked on this road, and the grass was everywhere. After climbing onto the road, it was wet and slippery. Zhang Chen staggered and almost fell down. Fortunately, Tan Shahen, who was walking behind, caught him. After walking for a while, the two of them saw a big rock and sat down on it. Tan Shahen sat there and continued singing. Her voice was a little hoarse. Zhang Chen told her to take a break, and Tan Shahen shook her head, as if as soon as she stops, she will miss her and let Xiao Wu hear her voice. Although they were going down the mountain, the two of them were already sweating profusely. Sitting in the valley, the wind was blowing and it felt cold, but the sweat was still flowing. The two of them felt that they were covered in sweat. Somewhat stinky. At noon, they reached the bottom of the valley. After the fog cleared little by little, they found that this valley was full of chestnut trees. Under the chestnut forest, it was almost impossible to grow any tall shrubs. They were all low weeds and reeds. It can be seen very far away. It is not easy for people to hide in such a place. Zhang Chen feels that Xiao Wu is unlikely to hide in this valley, and they need to cross as soon as possible. There were still massive pine trees on the mountain opposite. The two people walked towards that side. After turning around a rock, they found a pool of spring water behind the rock. The two people were overjoyed and quickly took out the empty bottles in their bags and filled them. Zhang Chen simply took off his shirt, wiped himself with the clothes, then put the clothes on his shoulders and waited to dry. Tan Shahen watched from the side. When Zhang Chen finished wiping, she couldn't help but said, "I'm so sad. I want it too. Turn around." Zhang Chen said yes, took a hiking bag and walking stick, walked away for a few steps, and turned around. Tan Shahen took out the t-shirt she had changed into yesterday as a towel, took off her red t-shirt, and wiped herself. Tan Shahen suddenly exclaimed "Ah!" Zhang Chen turned around subconsciously, and a white shadow flashed in front of his eyes. Tan Shahen ran over with her upper body naked, hid behind Zhang Chen, stretched out her hand from Zhang Chen's armpit, and pointed towards pointing fingers over there. "Snake, snake!" Tan Shahen shouted in horror. Zhang Chen took a closer look and discovered that on the edge of the rock, there was a moss-covered stone with a thumb-thick green bamboo leaf coiled on it. Its color was too close to the moss, so they never found it. And they made such a big noise, it is still coiled there, as if in trance. Zhang Chen walked a few steps forward, holding the hiking stick in his right hand. He stared at the green bamboo leaves and reached the edge of the pool with the hiking stick. He picked up Tan Shahen's red t-shirt, took it with his left hand, and handed it back. Tan Shahen behind her. Zhang Chen then held the hiking pole in his hand and stepped closer to the water pool, trying to get Tan Shahen's bag. The snake finally moved. Tan Shahen exclaimed "Ah!" and Zhang Chen instinctively stepped back. The snake turned over from the other side of the stone and walked away. Zhang Chen let out a long breath. He walked over, picked up Tan Shahen's bag, turned around, and asked Tan Shahen if she wanted to wash it. Tan Shahen's face turned pale with fright, and she quickly shook her head. The two people continued to walk forward. Tan Shahen picked up the hiking pole, slapped Zhang Chen on the buttocks in front of her, and cursed, "You looked away." Zhang Chen laughed, "Didn't you look at me too?" "Don't talk nonsense to others," Tan Shahen bit her lip and said. "What did you say?" Zhang Chen asked knowingly. Tan Shahen snorted and spanked him again. They walked to the mountain opposite, and in a pine forest, they saw a slope. Nothing grew on this slope except moss. On top of the moss was a thick layer of pine hair. The two of them sat down together. "Prepare to rest here." Zhang Chen took out biscuits, beef jerky, and chocolate from the bag. Tan Shahen frowned and said, "Zhang Chen, why don't you buy some pickled mustard? I sweat so much every day, how can I do it without supplementing my salt intake?" When Tan Shahen said this, Zhang Chen felt that his mouth was bland and he really wanted to eat mustard. Zhang Chen looked at the biscuits and chocolates, and finally pointed at the beef jerky and said to Tan Shahen, "Eat this." Tan Shahen frowned and said, "People are not normal, even the beef jerky they bought was not normal, and it was satay." Zhang Chen laughed. Tan Shahen asked, "Zhang Chen, if we stay here for a few days, will we eventually die from lack of salt?" "No, we are not short of salt," Zhang Chen said. "Why is there no shortage?" Tan Shahen asked. "When we have no choice, we can lick our own clothes. Our clothes are all salty." You," Tan Shahen cursed. After eating, Tan Shahen sat there and sang again. Zhang Chen simply lay down and fell asleep while listening. Zhang Chen woke up suddenly and quickly sat up. He saw Tan Shahen still sitting there. He looked at his watch again. It was already past 3 o'clock and he had slept for almost 2 hours. Zhang Chen quickly stood up and said, "Why did I fall asleep?" Tan Shahen smiled and said, "I got up too early in the morning. I fell asleep sitting here and just woke up." The two of them continued walking, and when they reached the halfway point of the mountain, they saw a three-way intersection with a road going out sideways. Tan Shahen said, Should we take this way? Zhang Chen said yes. The two of them walked for who knows how long. It was getting dark. Zhang Chen pointed to a low bush of ruo leaves on the roadside and said, "We will sleep here tonight, naturally Simmons." Tan Shahen was frightened by a snake earlier and is still frightened now. She said, "Here, when we are sleeping, will a snake crawl over?" When Tan Shahen said this, Zhang Chen also became afraid. Doesn't Zuyeking like this kind of place the most? The two people continued to walk forward, turning from the mountain col to the hillside. There was a crisscross road here. The road going down from the top was very wide, 2 or 3 meters long. It should be a fire road in the mountain forest. There are no weeds on it, only yellow-brown soil and stones are exposed. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen said, "This is it, there will definitely be no snakes here." Tan Shahen said yes. They spread out their sleeping bags and sat on top of them to have dinner. As the sky gradually darkened, the wind blew the woods on both sides of the fire road, making a rustling sound. It seemed like there were many people walking in the woods. Tan Shahen shivered. "Ask, is anyone coming?" Zhang Chen smiled and said, "If there is anyone, it is Xiao Wu. Who dares to come into the mountains now?" As soon as Zhang Chen finished speaking, Tan Shahen exclaimed, and Zhang Chen was also startled. They saw a dark figure walking out of the woods 10 meters away from them. Zhang Chen quickly whispered to Tan Shahen, "Sit still and don't move or make any noise." Zhang Chen saw a wild boar walking out of the woods. It walked to the middle of the road and stopped as if it heard something. The hair all over Zhang Chen's body stood up. He quietly held a stone in his hand, preparing to give it a stone if it rushed towards them, and then hit it with a cane, even though Zhang Chen knew that with their two people can't fight a wild boar, but when the time comes, they can only fight. Zhang Chen regrets it now. When he went to buy sleeping bags and hiking poles, he also saw a mountaineering pickaxe. He hesitated for a while, but finally thought it was too heavy and did not buy it. Could this hesitation cost me my life? The wild boar had turned around on the road and was looking at them from below. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen's hearts were beating wildly. Zhang Chen vaguely remembered hearing someone say that wild boars like to attack people. It faces upwards, so when you see a wild boar, you should run downhill. Zhang Chen whispered to Tan Shahen, "If it comes over later, I will attract its attention and you run down the mountain. Remember, don't run up the mountain." Tan Shahen was anxious, "I ran away, what will you do?" Zhang Chen said, "You run away first, then I can find a way to escape." After Zhang Chen finished speaking, he immediately became desperate. He saw another wild boar coming out of the woods, shaking its head. "Oh my God, we came to the wild boar's nest?" The later wild boar walked up to the front wild boar and bumped the front wild boar's butt with its head. The front wild boar turned around, and the two pigs then left the fire road and walked into the woods on the other side. Zhang Chen breathed a sigh of relief, and the cold sweat on his back started to break down. Zhang Chen cursed softly, these two guys turned out to be in love and wandering the streets. The two people quickly got up and packed their things, not daring to stay here any longer. They walked up and on the road, Tan Shahen said, "Zhang Chen, as you said before, this friend of yours is not in vain. What words? You attract its attention and make me run." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "What should I do? Otherwise, if you attract its attention, I will run away." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 922. They walked upward for more than 10 minutes and arrived at a place where the fire road was wider than below. There were woods on one side and a cliff more than 10 meters high on the other side. Zhang Chen said that this was it. There was at least one side of woods here. The probability of escaping the wild boar is reduced by 50%. Tan Shahen said, "Yes, here it is." It was half dark. Zhang Chen looked at the small pine trees growing sideways on the cliff. He walked over and jumped up, grabbing the roots of the pine trees and trying to hang them up. The pine trees also looked very strong. Jiang Chen was overjoyed and said to Tan Shehen, "If there are wild boars coming again, Tan Shehen, we will run up here, wild boars will not climb high." Tan Shehen said, "Yes, I understand." Jiang Chen walked back, looked over there, and asked Tan Shehen, "Do you want to practice it first? Are you okay?" Tan Shehen glanced over there and said to him, "Pediatrics, I will definitely get up faster than you." Jiang Chen was stunned for a moment and then remembered that Tan Shehen was a person with the blanket skill. Jiang Chen smiled and said, "I forgot that you can steal the fairy grass." Tan Shehen smiled. The two of them opened their sleeping bags and laid them out side by side in the middle of the fire escape. They didn't dare to get too close to the cliff for fear of rocks or something falling from it. The sky gradually darkened, and they lay flat on their sleeping bags. The temperature on the mountain had dropped, but it was not cold enough to get into the sleeping bags, because there was open space around and there were not so many bugs. It looked like today would be okay. Have a comfortable night. After the surrounding sky darkened, the starry sky above them became brighter. They saw so many stars that they would never see in the city. The stars were no longer looming, and even the dimmest stars seemed to be like stars. He stood there motionless, watching them intently. They feel that they have never seen such a stable starry sky. Such a starry sky gives people a very peaceful feeling and will slowly calm down your heart. Looking deeper into the night sky, you can see more stars. Countless stars. Jiang Chen, tell me, are there people on so many stars? Tan Shehen asked. Jiang Chen said, "Yes, there must be. I have believed since I was a child that there must be someone in the sky." Tan Shehen smiled and said, "Do you believe in Chang'e, Wu Gang, or Sun Wukong?" "No, I believe there are real people, people like me," Jiang Chen said seriously. "Why?" Tan Shehen asked. "Look at this universe. Why is it not broken? It has been running. I have believed since I was a child that it is balanced. Otherwise, would this universe not be broken? Don't know. The reason why it has not fallen over is because it is balanced and symmetrical, just like the two sides of a scale. In other words, on the other side of the universe, there must be a Milky Way, a solar system, and an Earth. On the Earth everything is the same as our Earth, exactly the same. There is also a Jiang Chen and a Tan Shehen. Even now, Tan Shehen and Jiang Chen on Earth are also on such a mountain, looking at the stars above their heads, and saying exactly the same words as us. "No way, Jiang Chen, you said I'm scared," Tan Shehen said. "Yes, why are you afraid? We should be happy. It shows that we are not alone in the universe." Tan Shehen, do you know why people like to look at the sky no matter when they are sad or lonely? Why? Because in this sky, on the other side of the universe, there is another self. We think we are talking to ourselves, but in fact we are talking to that self. Because he has the same thoughts as me, so he hear, understand, hear. Really, Tan Shehen, I believe that there is another one of me in the universe. He is exactly the same as me and is closer than twins. But we have never met and will never meet. When we say goodbye to this world, not only saying goodbye to the world, but also saying goodbye to myself, because when I died, he died with me. Jiang Chen, stop talking, I'm almost crying because of what you said, Tan Shehen said. Listen, Tan Shehen, listen carefully, do you hear it? Jiang Chen shouted. Listen to what? That Tan Shehen also said she was about to cry, Jiang Chen said. Tan Shehen looked at the starry sky above her head, with tears streaming from the corners of her eyes. She felt that if what Jiang Chen said was true, then we would be suffering too much. She didn't want Tan Shehen on that earth to be like her. She hoped that she would be better than herself. Jiang Chen, tell me, is there a Xiao Wu on that earth? Tan Shehen asked. Certainly. He is also being chased by so many people and hiding in this mountain. Certainly. Tan Shahen sighed, it's not enough to chase one earth, and we need another earth. This is too pitiful. Both of them were silent. They looked at the stars above their heads, looking for a place where they might exist. The next day, they walked around in the mountains for another day, but still found nothing. Zhang Chen took out his sketchbook and looked at it. He was also confused. How could he figure out the way back? He simply stopped drawing. Anyway, he had a guide to the north. Needle, this is not a desert. Although the mountains and forests in this area are big, they are not big enough to trap them to death. To the north is Tonglu, to the south is the Lanjiang River, to the west is the Fukun River, and to the east is the Pujiang River or Langzi River. No matter where you are in this mountain forest, as long as you keep walking in one direction. If you go, you will definitely be able to walk out in 3 or 4 days at most. There is nothing to worry about. They walked to a mountainside around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Zhang Chen vaguely saw a road at the foot of the mountain. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen said, let's go down the mountain. There seems to be a road there. Tan Shahen said yes. It was already past 5 o'clock when they reached the foot of the mountain. There was indeed a road at the foot of the mountain. Where would this road lead? Zhang Chen thought for a moment and understood. They had already reached the Jiangnan Forest Farm. This road should be the Forest Farm's road. Going inward was the Calabash Waterfall. Walking out, you could walk to the cruise ship dock, which is also the freight dock of the Jiangnan Forest Farm. On the edge of the pier, Zhang Chen remembered that there were 2 4-story houses, which were the farm headquarters and dormitories of Jiangnan Forest Farm. Zhang Chen talked to Tan Shahen, and Tan Shahen also became excited. Although they had not found Xiao Wu yet, they had not lost their way after at least 3 days of walking. Zhang Chen thought to himself that if Xiao Wu got here, it would be impossible for him to go outside. There are more than 100 people in the forest farm, and there must be a checkpoint on the pier. If you go out, you are seeking death. They walked along the road inside. It was quiet on the road. This was originally the road inside the Jiangnan Forest Farm. At this time, all the staff of the forest farm had evacuated to the farm department by the dock for safety reasons. There was nowhere else inside. There will be people and cars. They walked for 5 or 6 minutes and arrived at an arch bridge. Under the bridge was a stream. The stream dried up in the summer, exposing more than half of the stream bottom. Near the bridge, there was a large beach covered with large and small rivers. Pebbles. The 2 of us were overjoyed. This was a perfect camping spot. They went down from the stone curb next to the road and arrived at the creek beach. Here, there was no need to worry about any snakes and wild boars. The stream was gurgling, and Zhang Chen said, I want to take a good wash. Tan Shahen looked toward the bridge hole and said to Zhang Chen, I'm going to take a good wash too, but you're not allowed to peek. Zhang Chen said yes. Tan Shahen took a t-shirt and walked towards the bottom of the bridge. 2/3 of the bottom of the bridge was also covered with cobblestones, and 1/3 of the river was filled with streams. Tan Shahen took off her shoes, rolled up her trouser legs to her knees, and walked into the stream. She looked over at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen had taken off his shorts and was standing in a deep pool in the stream with his back to the side. Inside, the water didn't even reach his thighs. He was splashing water on himself with both hands. Tan Shahen pursed her lips and smiled. She took off the red t-shirt she was wearing, thought for a while, and simply washed the red t-shirt and used it as a towel to wipe herself. After wiping, put on another t-shirt, wash the red t-shirt, and prepare to dry it at night and wear it tomorrow. When Tan Shahen finished washing and walked back, Zhang Chen was still washing. When he saw Tan Shahen coming back, Zhang Chen shouted, "It's so happy. It feels like I have never washed in my life." Tan Shahen smiled. Tan Shahen was barefoot. She spread her t-shirt on the cobblestones, put her shoes and socks aside, and sat down on the cobblestones. When Zhang Chen came back, he also spread out his t-shirt on the cobblestones. He sat down with his upper body naked. Both of them felt comfortable and began to eat their dinner. Today is a cloudy day. There are no stars or moon in the sky. Although it is summer, the wind blowing from the valley is cold and tight. Fortunately, the t-shirt Zhang Chen hung there is half dry. He can hold on for a while. It should be ready to wear. The two of them left in a hurry and didn't have time to bring any clothes. They didn't expect that they would need to change clothes in the mountains. Tan Shahen's red t-shirt was brought when she went back to the room to change her shoes. She saw it on the sofa and took it with her. On this beach, there were many branches washed down by the stream from upstream. Zhang Chen walked over and picked them up. They lit a bonfire on the beach. The two of them sat by the fire, spreading their t-shirts on their laps. After baking it, it was dry after a while, and Zhang Chen put on his clothes. The two of them were warming up over the fire, and Zhang Chen sighed. He said that at this time, it would be great if there could be a pot to boil water and drink a cup of hot tea. Tan Shahen smiled and said, "What a beautiful idea. I also want to have a bathtub." Tan Shahen stood up and sang a song. The song floated in the valley. Zhang Chen thought that maybe it could be heard at the ship dock. Tan Shahen sang for more than an hour at a stretch. Zhang Chen sat aside and listened silently. Tan Shahen called out twice at the end, Xiao Wu, and that was the end. The two opened their sleeping bags and were getting ready to sleep. It seemed to be raining. The two looked at each other. Zhang Chen said, "It seems to be raining. Are you getting wet?" Tan Shahen nodded. After a while, the rain started to get heavier. They quickly put everything away. Tan Shahen shouted, under the bridge, go under the bridge to hide from the rain." The two people ran into the bridge hole. The rain outside was getting heavier and heavier. Fortunately, the bridge hole was wide enough. They hid here and could not get wet at all. Zhang Chen looked back, but unfortunately their bonfire had been completely soaked by the rain, and the place where they had been sitting was now pitch black. Zhang Chen turned on the camping light. The two people stood on the cobblestones and opened their sleeping bags again. Zhang Chen put the camping light between the two people and they got into the sleeping bags. Tan Shahen said, "Turn off the light to attract insects." Zhang Chen reached out and turned off the light. In the dark night, you could hear the rain of the windshield wipers, raining on trees far and near, on the ground and water, on everything, but not on them. "It's such a good place," Zhang Chen said. Tan Shahen smiled softly in the darkness. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 923. Zhang Chen suddenly woke up from his sleep. He reached out to touch the camping lantern, but did not touch it. Instead, his hand felt that there was water outside the sleeping bag, and it seemed that there was also water inside the sleeping bag. He was awakened by the water. "Get up! Get up quickly, Tan Shahen!" Zhang Chen yelled, and Tan Shahen also woke up. She also felt water all around her and screamed, not knowing what happened. Zhang Chen got out of his sleeping bag and reached out in the darkness to grab the mountaineering bag. He caught it and quickly took out the flashlight from it and opened it. Only then did the two of them see that the water in the stream had risen. There was already water all around them. Water rises very quickly. The two people quickly picked up their bags, and Tan Shahen shouted, "Shoes, Zhang Chen, my shoes." Zhang Chen was worried about something happening at night. He always slept with his shoes on. Tan Shahen said that she was not used to it. She always took off her shoes before getting into her sleeping bag. At this time, she was standing there barefoot and her shoes could not be found. Zhang Chen took a flashlight to take a photo and saw Tan Shahen's shoes in the water. One was more than a meter away from them. Zhang Chen ran 2 steps to catch it and threw it to Tan Shahen. There was another one that was about to flow out of the bridge hole. Zhang Chen he quickly chased after them, and saw their 2 sleeping bags floating in the water. He couldn't care less about them anymore, as his shoes were more important. Zhang Chen chased for more than 10 meters and finally caught the shoe. He tried to grab their sleeping bags again. The sleeping bags were floating on the stream and had flowed far away. It was impossible to catch them. Zhang Chen had no choice but to carry the shoes and swim. Water comes back. The water had already reached their calves, and it was still raining outside. The water must have flowed down from the mountains. Zhang Chen didn't know how deep the water would rise, so he told Tan Shahen to get out quickly. The 2 people got out of the bridge hole, and the large beach was flooded. They quickly climbed up the stone and walked to the road. The windshield wipers swiped against the ground, drenching the 2 of them like drowned rats. No place on their bodies was dry, and their shoes were filled with water. The temperature also dropped rapidly with the heavy rain. The 2 of them stood in the rain for a while and then started to shiver. Zhang Chen said, "Let's go. We walked along the kilometer and we might be able to find some house." Tan Shahen trembled and said, "Okay." The 2 people braved the rain and walked along the road towards the inside. The cold clothes clung to their cold bodies, the rain hit their faces, and their vision began to blur. At this time, the sky began to light up little by little. In order to overcome the coldness on his body, Zhang Chen shouted "Xiao Wu" loudly. Tan Shahen also sang a song. Although the singing and shouting could not be carried very far in the rain. There was so much water vapor all around, and it was so white that even their eyes couldn't see very far. They could only see blurry mountains, blurry roads, and rain, brushing in front of and behind them. Suddenly, a black figure flashed out from the mountain on the roadside. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen were startled. They stopped and looked again. Tan Shahen screamed. They saw that standing in front of them, with water dripping from his body, was Xiao Wu. Tan Shahen rushed up, hugged Xiao Wu, and then let him go, crying loudly and beating him with both hands. Xiao Wu stood there like a log, the water on his face kept flowing down, and he couldn't tell whether it was rain or tears. Xiao Wu took them to a pumping station on the roadside. Zhang Chen opened his hiking bag and took out the contents for Xiao Wu to eat. Xiao Wu ate hungrily. It was obvious that he was really hungry. Tan Shahen stood at the door, looking out the door and observing the situation outside, while twitching. Zhang Chen stood aside and kept talking to Xiao Wu. Afterwards, Xiao Wu nodded. The rain outside slowly stopped, and Xiao Wu was full. The 3 of them started to set off. This time, they were not heading in, but outside, in the direction of the dock. Zhang Chen determined that there must be a checkpoint there. The 3 of them walked for more than an hour and could already see the Fukun River and the pier in the distance, as well as a tent on the edge of the pier. The people inside the tent also saw 3 people coming out of it. First, one person came out of the tent and stood in the middle of the road. Then 2 or 3 people came out and stood in the middle of the road. The 3 people continued to walk forward, with Zhang Chen on the left, Tan Shahen on the right, and Xiao Wu in the middle. When both sides could see each other's faces clearly, there was a crash and more than a dozen people in the tent ran out. Tan Shahen shouted loudly. "We surrendered ourselves." Xiao Wu surrendered himself. "Don't shoot." Xiao Wu raised his hands. Anyone who knew Tan Shahen among the dozen or so people shouted, "Tan Shahen, why are you here?" "We are here to find Xiao Wu and accompany him to surrender. Lao Tai knows the situation and we made an agreement with him to bring Xiao Wu to surrender." Did Shuang, that is, the professor from Nanjing University, one of the 3 people who memorized the dictionary with Wang Chao at the Educated Youth Center, that is, Xiao Wu said, he is as tall as Wu Song and looks like Li Kuei, and he makes XX to each other when he opens his mouth. Damn it, the native beast that has not yet evolved into a beast in clothes came to Hangzhou this time knowing full well that there would be a dispute with Wang Chao. If you fight, just fight. If you are a bitch, the worst possible outcome is that I and you will make lists and calculate the general ledger. No one is afraid of whom. The reason for the dispute is the National Invention Award project submitted by Did Shuang. Wang Chao believes that the entire trial production process was carried out in his own factory. He contributed money and efforts, and his name should be among the inventors. Bitch, for a few bucks, you just want to add your name. Is it so cheap? This money should have been paid by you. The product has started to be put into production, and you have no share in making money. Damn you, do you want to gain both fame and wealth? Why do you want to be an inventor with your pig-like head and pig shit? I found you a bitch. Without me, your factory wouldn't be able to survive. Which product produced in the factory is not my patent or invention. Even the sales are brought by me. Just your 3 inches of ding tree bark. When people call you Mr. Wang, they think you can fly to the sky. What Mr. Wang? You have brain edema, right? De Zhuang arrived at Wang Chao's office, drove Xiao Wu and Wang Chao's driver out, and closed the office door. Xiao Wu and the driver were sitting outside. Sure enough, after a while, the sound of 2 people banging the table and yelling could be heard from inside. Xiao Wu and the driver looked at each other, shook their heads with a wry smile, and didn't bother to pay attention to them. They were already used to it anyway. Every time these 2 people met, they were always at odds with each other, so there was nothing strange about it. No one would believe it if the 2 of them were best friends who joined the team together. No one would disbelieve if they were enemies. The 2 people inside started talking about applying for an invention award and Wang Chao was not named. The 2 people were already very angry. As a result, Wang Chao mentioned it again and said, "You don't do anything, you just take advantage of it. I have 20% of the stocks here. How much money do I get in vain every year for touching my dick? You can do it anonymously, but then your shares will be reduced to 15%. De Zhuang immediately slapped him in the face and cursed, "You idiot, the factory in southern Sunan gave me 40% of the shares and asked me to make things for them, but I didn't even agree. I'll take 100% from you 20, you are a bitch, and you are so verbose." De Zhuang carried Wang Chao from the inside of the desk to the outside and slapped him on the carpet. Xiao Wu and the driver were sitting there, and when they heard Wang Chao shouting for help, they knew something was wrong. They quickly opened the door and went in. When they entered, they saw De Zhuang riding on Wang Chao, greeting Wang Chao with slaps. The driver ran over first and pushed, but did not push away the big man like an iron tower. Xiao Wu rushed over, picked up a giant ashtray about 2/3 the size of a magazine on the coffee table, and pointed it at De Zhuang's head. "Smash it up." De Zhuang fell to the side, and the driver held him down. Wang Chao got up, grabbed the ashtray from Xiao Wu, and smashed it at De Zhuang. The 3 of them looked at De Zhuang, who was lying there motionless, and then they began to get scared. Wang Chao shouted, "No, no, no, we have to find a way. You 2 are involved in this matter. We will be imprisoned together and shot together shot. No one wants to go to jail, and no one wants to be shot." The result of the 3 people's discussion was to find a way to cover up their crimes. Wang Chao asked the driver, "Did anyone see him when you picked him up?" The driver said, "No, today is Sunday and no one is working downstairs." "This is easy to handle, this is easy to handle, I will find a way," Wang Chao said. They finally dragged De Zhuang to the community developed by Wang Chao in Qiwen, found a house that had not yet been sold, bought a freezer, and hid De Zhuang in the freezer. Then the carpet in the office was changed and the walls were re-wallpapered. Wang Chao asked the driver to drive to the parking lot of Chengjian railway station and told him that it is best for other people to see you. Chat with anyone you see. Yes, security is the best. You and the security chat more. Then Wang Chao called Dizhuang's wife and asked him when Dizhuang would arrive in Hangzhou today. It was already 5 o'clock, why hadn't he arrived yet? My driver was at the station, waiting for him all afternoon. The strong wife said, it's the same train as before, isn't it supposed to arrive at around 12 o'clock? Wait, I'll dunk him. After a while, Dizhuang's wife called Wang Chao and told him that Dizhuang didn't have a rebate machine and should be on the train. Maybe there was something wrong at school and the train was changed. Dizhuang's wife in turn comforted Wang Chao, saying it was okay. Dizhuang looked like nothing would happen even if he wanted to, which made Wang Chao laugh. Until the next day, there was still no news about Dizhuang. His wife was also anxious and reported it to the school. The school knew that Dizhuang's disappearance was a serious matter and immediately reported it to the police. The police and national security officers came because they suspected that he might have been kidnapped by foreign spies. From the school investigation to Wang Chao's company, there was no suspicion, but the person was missing. After reporting it again, it attracted the attention of the upper management. The case was directly classified as a case listed for supervision by the ministry. Experts were dispatched, a task force was organized, and the investigation was restarted. The task force learned from Wang Chao and his finances that Dazhuang originally put his patented products here to make. In addition to being a friend who had joined the team with Wang Chao, he had 100% success here. 20 dry stocks. Neither the school nor Dizhuang's wife knew about this matter. Even in Wang Chao's previous transcript, he only emphasized that they were friends. They were already dead. It wasn't a big deal to have shares. What else do you have to hide? The task force felt that this was a suspicious point, so they shifted their focus from the kidnapping of foreign spies to economic disputes. They asked the driver and Wang Chao again, and their statements were the same as before. The driver said that he had been waiting for Dizhuang in the parking lot of Chengjian railway station all afternoon, but the security guard remembered that he had gone out that day, and then at 4 o'clock what came back many minutes ago was not always there. That evening, the task force went to the factory and took the driver away again. Wang Chao was not in the company, but Xiao Wu was. Xiao Wu knew that the driver had been very nervous these days and would definitely not be able to handle it this time. Xiao Wu waited in the office for the police to come to arrest him. He waited until it was already dark outside and did not wait for the police to arrive before he called Zhang Chen. At this time, he had decided that he couldn't just let him go and he wanted to escape. What Xiao Wu didn't know was that while he was calling Zhang Chen, the police had already gone to arrest him. However, they did not expect that he would still be in the company. Instead, they went to where he lived, but did not catch him there. Thinking he was with Wang Chao. On that day, Wang Chao was celebrating the birthday of a KTV girl he was in love with. He was at her home, so he hid there. When he arrived at the company the next day, he was taken away. After Xiao Wu broke up with Zhang Chen and the others, he called a taxi and went back to his hometown. He wanted to see his parents one last time before he fled to the end of the world. Thank you for the reward from reading books and doll tin soldiers every day. Thank you Tiger for your monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 924. Zhang Chen drove the car. Along the way, both of them were silent and didn't know what to say. Zhang Chen thought to himself, it turns out that not everything you do will make you happy when you finish it and achieve your goal. They know it in their hearts. Regardless of whether Xiao Wu's life can be saved or not, this brother is no longer with them. Even if he is spared death, it will be a very long sentence. Both of them were thinking about everything about Xiao Wu, but they just didn't want to mention it again. As long as anyone mentioned the word Xiao Wu, they knew that sadness would come out like a flood. After Xiao Wu was taken away, they went to see Lao Tai again and told Lao Tai about the matter. Lao Tai reassured them and told them that I would testify for Xiao Wu and prove that you had indeed gone in to find him and persuade him. He surrendered, he came out with you, he really surrendered. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan felt a little comforted after hearing Lao Tai's words. It started to rain again. Neither of them were dry yet. They just felt tired and sleepy. Especially when Xiao Wu found it, the energy he had been holding in his heart suddenly released. He was indescribably tired. They opened 2 rooms in Yongcheng, took a good bath, fell on the bed and fell asleep. Zhang Chen was woken up by Tan Shahan's knock on the door. He looked at the time and saw that it was almost 5 o'clock. Zhang Chen opened the door and saw that Tan Shahan had already changed into a new set of clothes. She bought them on the street and brought them to Zhang Chen. He turned around. Zhang Chen quickly changed his clothes, picked up the mobile phone and took a look. After charging for several hours, the mobile phone still had no response. It was probably soaked in water and was broken. Zhang Chen picked up the phone on the bedside table and dialed Xiao Zhao's cell phone to ask how his grandma's condition was. When he didn't get through, Zhang Chen thought, forget it, call again when he returns to Hangzhou. The 2 people immediately checked out and left, returning from the mountains to the real world. They would have so many things in the real world that required them to start immediately. They had a quick dinner under the big camphor tree and continued on their way. Fortunately, after Xiao Wu surrendered, all the checkpoints along the way were removed and the road was smooth. Only the rain kept falling continuously, as if their mood was so continuously sad. At around 9 o'clock, they drove downstairs to the dynamic zone. Tan Shahan told Zhang Chen that she went back to the room, put her things away and went to the store. Zhang Chen said, you can rest for one night before talking. Tan Shahan shook her head. She saw Zhang Chen also going upstairs. She was surprised and asked, why don't you go home? Brother is really upset. I'll go upstairs and call Xiao Zhao. She must be anxious if we haven't contacted her for several days. Didn't you tell Xiao Zhao when you left? Tan Shahan was surprised. Then the police didn't let anyone tell me. I didn't even tell Miss Lin why I didn't show up in those few days and why I couldn't send her off. She thought I was hiding from her. Here at Xiaozhou, I originally thought of Yongcheng. I told her what the situation was before I told her, but I didn't bring the spare power board, so we ran out of power when we arrived at the dock, and we couldn't find a place to charge it. Tan Shahan nodded and said, then you should hit her quickly. They arrived at the garden upstairs. Tan Shahan walked to her room. Zhang Chen walked towards the office. He saw the light in the office was on and thought that Ji Ling was probably still in his office. When he left, he handed over the key. Got her. Zhang Chen opened the door and was startled. He saw Xiao Zhao sitting at his desk. Zhang Chen asked curiously, why are you back? Xiao Zhao raised his head, with tears in his eyes, and asked, do you hope that I never come back? Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment and asked, okay, why are you crying? Okay, what do you mean by okay? Xiao Zhao looked at him and said, you can do such a thing and I can't even cry. If you want to break up, you can tell me why you are doing this? Zhang Chen was surprised and said with a smile, what have I done? Don't you know what you are doing? You and Tan Shahan disappeared just after I left. Everyone in the company is looking for you. No one knows where you have gone. Xiao Wan really has no choice this morning. She is worried if something happened, you would call me and we would rush back right away. I'm still wondering why you couldn't get through on the phone a few days ago. When I asked people in the company, everyone was hesitant. It turns out that you have done such a shameless thing, and people are too embarrassed to say it. Jiang Chen was a little annoyed and cursed, "What a shameless thing, we are going back to Yongcheng. Jiang Chen, don't think that I don't know who Tan Shehen is. Don't think that I don't know your relationship with Tan Shehen. Tan Shehen turned out to be Zhuangzi's girlfriend. She can abandon Zhangzi and marry his brother Feng Legui. Including you and her, we didn't know each other clearly when we were in the troop." Tan Shehen went to the bank. The president's wife regarded her as a sister. As a result, she and the president were messing around and were caught by the police in Hangzhou. She couldn't stay in Yongcheng any longer, so she came to Hangzhou to find her. "You old lover, don't think that I don't know. Since last year, people have been calling me constantly to tell me about Tan Shehen. I never told you. I just told myself that it was in the past. You have promised me now that we will be together forever. I believe in you. I believe in you. I didn't expect that the result of believing would be like this. As soon as I wasn't in Hangcheng, you and her ran out. You could ignore anything in the factory, company, or store, and no one would be able to find you. Enough." Jiang Chen roared loudly. Xiao Zhao was startled and froze there. From the moment they met to the present, Jiang Chen didn't even say a harsh word in front of her. She didn't expect that he would be so cruel to her today. It looked like, that person is right, Tan Shehen is the vixen, Jiang Chen is fascinated by the vixen, what should we do? Xiao Zhao felt so confused that he couldn't help lying on the table and crying. Jiang Chen walked over and sat down opposite Xiao Zhao. He stretched out his hand and held Xiao Zhao's hand. Xiao Zhao threw his hand away and Jiang Chen said, "I'm sorry." Xiao Zhao whimpered and lay there shaking his head, "I don't want you to say sorry, I want you to go home, and I want you not to destroy our family." Jiang Chen sighed and said, "Do you know what you are talking about? What you just said not only insulted me, but also insulted Tan Shehen. Do you know? I have nothing to do with her, and there can be no such thing." What else did Jiang Chen want to say? Lu Ligan's voice came from outside the open door, "Jiang Chen, you finally showed up. Where have you been? I can't get through even if I call you. It's a shame for me I have to rush back from Beijing." Lu Ligan followed the words and walked in, followed by Fan Jiangguo. When Lu Ligan saw the scene in the office, he immediately knew something was wrong. He turned around and said to Fan Jiangguo, "You go first." Fan Jiangguo said okay, he gave the keys to the Mercedes-Benz to Lu Ligan, turned around and left. Lu Ligan closed the door and cursed, "You two, are you a traitor? Do you really think of the company as your home? You don't even close the door when you quarrel. Do you think it's pretty when the boss's wife and the boss quarrel?" Jiang Chen looked at Lu Ligan and said to him, "Something happened to Xiao Wu." Lu Ligan was stunned for a moment and asked, "What did you say?" "Something happened to Xiao Wu. He, his bastard boss, and the driver killed the other one who memorized the dictionary." Ah, Lu Ligan and Xiao Zhao were both shocked. Xiao Zhao raised his head and looked at Jiang Chen blankly. Lu Ligan smiled and said, "Jiang Chen, are you kidding me?" "No kidding, you will know soon." All three of them were arrested. Xiao Wu had already escaped and was hiding in the mountains near their home. The police searched for several days. Tan Shehen and I went to the mountains to find them. Persuade him to surrender, so that he may be able to save his life, Jiang Chen said. Lu Ligan fell down on the sofa, stared at Jiang Chen, and asked blankly, "Jiang Chen, are you saying that the Nanda professor, Wang Chao's partner, was killed by them?" "Yes, the body is hidden in the house in Qiwen. The case is very big. You also know the identity of the guy from Nanda. The whole place is shocked. This is a case supervised by the ministry." "You mean, Xiao Wu was also involved?" Jiang Chen nodded, "He started to fight." "Holy shit. Then isn't this bastard doomed?" Jiang Chen nodded again. "Is there nothing you can do?" Now we are surrendering. Chief Chang Tai of Yongcheng Police Station is also willing to prove that we are looking for Xiao Wu to persuade him to surrender. Xiao Wu came out with us and indeed surrendered. He is willing to prove this. Perhaps this can save him. Take his life. Originally, he was absconding out of fear of crime, so we gave orders to kill him on the spot. Lu Ligan slapped his face with both hands and shouted loudly, Zhang Chen, are we two dead people? We know that the man named Wang is unreliable, so even if we tie him up, we should still bring Xiao Wu back. Zhang Chen told Lu Ligan and Xiao Zhao the whole story. Xiao Wu called them, they went to have supper together, and they searched for 3 days and nights in the mountains. That night, Xiao Wu listened in the mountains. They came down the mountain to hear Tan Shahan singing, but when they reached the foot of the mountain, Xiao Wu didn't see them because they hid in the bridge hole to avoid the rain. It wasn't until the early morning of the next day that he hid in the nearby woods and heard Tan Shahan singing and Zhang Chen's shouting again, and then he ran out. Zhang Chen convinced him, and he followed them out to surrender. After crossing the river, he was taken away by the Hangzhou police waiting at the dock. Lu Ligan and Xiao Zhao listened blankly, and Xiao Zhao started crying again. She said, "What should we do now?" Lu Ligan also looked at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen said, "There is no other way. Now we can only hire the best lawyer for him, find a way to save his life, and then let him be rehabilitated in prison. We can also find connections. Strive to commute his sentence." Lu Ligan nodded and said, "Yes, I will ask Sun Ho to find a lawyer from Beijing." The phone on Zhang Chen's desk rang. Xiao Zhao pressed the speakerphone. On the phone, Zhang Chen's mother shouted anxiously, Chen, what happened to Zhen Zhen? She picked up Nanan when she came here and left. She didn't say anything when I asked her. Nanan was crying and refused to leave, and she didn't care." Zhang Chen's heart skipped a beat and he shouted, "It's over, something happened again." He quickly ran out and ran to Tan Shahan's room. He found that the door was open. He quickly went in and turned on the light. There was no one in the room. When he looked in the cabinet, he saw that all the clothes were gone. Lu Ligan and Xiao Zhao also ran in. "Thank you for the tip from the third one from top to bottom, 131 on the shore. Thank you to you Wang Fangbing and Wonderful on the road for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 925. Zhang Chen knew that Tan Shahan must have heard Xiao Zhao's words outside the door and became angry. Tan Shahan was wronged in Yongcheng, so she came to Hangzhou. When she got here, she knew that she had been wronged by Xiao Zhao again. How could she endure Tan Shahan's temper? "What's going on?" Lu Ligan asked. Zhang Chen glanced at Xiao Zhao and walked out without saying a word. Xiao Zhao and Lu Li said anxiously, "It's not like they both suddenly disappeared together and couldn't be contacted for several days. I was anxious when I saw them coming back, I just doubted whether they were the one, so I said some unpleasant words." Lu Ligan understood and scolded, "Xiao Zhao, I think you are really in trouble. Even if you don't understand Tan Shahan, don't you understand Zhang Chen? In this world, the two of them are the least likely to know each other. If anything happens, you can just put the two of them on the same bed and nothing will happen." "Why?" Xiao Zhao was puzzled, "Sister Shahan is so beautiful." Lu Ligan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He said, "Okay, let me tell you this, Xiao Zhao, you are also very beautiful. Others also say that I, Lu Ligan, am a gangster, but you said that the two of us will be together. Will everything be okay? Will I play tricks on you?" Xiao Zhao was stunned for a moment and seemed to understand a little. She murmured, "But since last year, people have been calling me and saying that Sister Shahan. Is it Huang Linghua? Do you know that Tan Shahan almost killed her that day, but if Xiao Wu hadn't stopped her, something serious would have happened, and you would have believed her words. Lu Ligan said and walked out. Xiao Zhao sighed. Not only did she keep receiving calls from Huang Linghua, but Huang Linghua also came to see her when she returned to Yongcheng during the Spring Festival. Someone kept saying this to you, and even said it with certainty. Can you don't believe it? Lu Ligan walked into Zhang Chen's office. Zhang Chen was buttoning Tan Shahen. Lu Ligan said, no need to button it. With Tan Shahen's bad temper, will she return? Then what should we do? Xiao Zhao followed in and said anxiously, it's all my fault, it's all my fault. Sister Shahen brought Nanan with her things. It's still raining outside. Where will she go? Let's go find her quickly. Bar. It shouldn't be far away, Lu Ligan said. In this way, when I go to the train station, you two will come out of your house and search the nearby hotels to see if she will carry Nan. Stayed in a hotel. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao agreed, and the three of them went downstairs immediately. Lu Ligan arrived at the Chengzhan railway station. The Chengzhan railway station was not big, just a hall with ticket sales and waiting rooms inside. Lu Ligan ran in to see if there was anyone, and then ran to the shed outside. When the shed was built, is a temporary transition for passengers to wait for the bus. Unexpectedly, after it was erected, it will no longer be temporary. It will probably accompany the Chengzhan railway station for the last 1 or 2 years. The long-distance bus station next to the train station has no buses at night, but there are several private buses to Wenzhou and Taizhou parked at the door. Lu Ligan feels that if Tan Shahen runs away, the possibility of going to Wenzhou is really high. After all, they have performed in Wenzhou every year before and are quite familiar with the place. Lu Ligan ran up to the bus and searched rows of seats, but did not see Tan Shahen. Lu Ligan sat back in his car, started the car, and called Xiao Zhao while driving. It was Zhang Chen who picked up the phone. Zhang Chen said that they had searched Hangcheng Building, International Building, and Xingqiao Hotel. Not found. Now at the Yuyi Hotel, Xiao Zhao went to the front desk to ask. Zhang Chen, are you mentally ill? Do you think Tan Shahen is the kind of person who is willing to spend her own money to stay in a hotel worth hundreds of yuan a night? Lu Ligan scolded, she can't even afford a better hotel. I doubt whether she is willing to spend it, and now that she has no job, she is even more reluctant to spend money. Yes, you are right about the pole, Zhang Chen sighed. Why the hell did I forget this? Let's go to the inn to look for it. Wait there. I'll be there soon. Let's talk about it when I get there, Lu Ligan said. Lu Ligan saw Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao standing at the gate of the Friendship Hotel. He parked the car and got off the car. The security guard was about to come over to persuade him, but Lu Ligan waved his hand and said, leave immediately, no one is around, go away. The security guard nodded and stepped back. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao came over. Lu Ligan said to them, go back to your company immediately. There are only 3 of us. There will definitely not be enough manpower. Find everyone who has a car and knows Tan Shahen. Let's go to each hotel one by one, we must find her tonight. With her temper, if we can't find her tonight, she may not be still in Hangzhou tomorrow. When Xiao Zhao heard this, he felt that the matter was serious and almost cried. Zhang Chen thought that what Lu Ligan said was reasonable, and Tan Shahen would really be like this. The 3 of them drove back and were on the phone at the same time. Not long after they arrived at the office, Wu Kai and Wei Venfang, Lao Tan and Han Jiaozulu Bang, Zhao Zhigang and Xiao Sheng, as well as Erhuo, Lao Wan and Fan Jiangguo all came. Lu Ligan told everyone about the matter. He did not say that Tan Shahen and Xiao Zhao had conflicts, but that he had a fight with Tan Shahen and made her angry. Please help me look for her and find her. Whether she is willing to follow you or not, follow her and inform me to come over. Do you have any photos of Tan Shahen? Wei Venfang asked. Why do you want a photo? Don't you know Tan Shahan? Lu Ligan asked. If you have photos, all the hotels and restaurants will be hired by me. I have so many couriers who are divided into different areas. They are very familiar with every hotel and restaurant. I will mobilize them to find them and let you go. Some hotels, you don't even know which alley we're in, right? Wei Venfang said. Yes, that's great. Lu Ligan turned to Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao. Do you have any photos? Zhang Chen scolded, how can I have it? If I have it, you have so many. I do, but they were from several years ago, Lu Ligan said. Xiao Zhao remembered it. She said I had it. She told Er Huo to follow me and walked out. After a while, Er Huo came back. Er Huo was holding a large stack of picture albums. Zhang Chen's eyes lit up and he understood. In the picture album, there is a photo of Tan Shahan and Miss Gong. Zhang Chen quickly took out a marker and drew a circle around Tan Shahan in each picture album, and then told Wei Venfang, tell your people that she also had a 6-year-old girl with her. Wei Venfang agreed and immediately left with Wu Ziyawai holding the album. The remaining people were divided into groups. Lu Ligan said that she should check out all the places where people could stay, such as KFC and McDonald's, which were still open. Go in and have a look. She might take Nanan to eat there. Xiao Zhao thought that it was raining so heavily outside and that Tan Shahan and Nanan might still be on the street. He felt regretful and couldn't help crying. Lu Ligan quickly said, let's go, everyone, let's go quickly. Zhang Chen still took Xiao Zhao's car, and the second-rate guy drove Zhang Chen's car away. Everyone quickly dispersed and started looking for Tan Shahan. They agreed that in an hour, everyone would go to the parking lot in the dynamic area downstairs to meet each other. After an hour, everyone came back one after another without any discovery. It was already past 12 o'clock and all the shops on the street were closed. It was impossible for Tan Shahan to take Nanan and still stay in the street. Lu Ligan and they said that if they wait for Wei Venfang, there should be good news from her, and Tan Shahan should already be staying in a hotel. After they waited for a while, Wei Venfang called and told them that he must not be staying in a hotel. We have searched all the hotels in Hangzhou, including the Datong store that costs 80 cents a night, and there is definitely no such thing. Lu Ligan said, there is no way. Let's work harder and look for the places we looked for again. If they weren't there before, they might be there now. Also, as long as you can take shelter from the rain, pay attention. After everyone left separately, Lu Ligan stopped Zhang Chen and told him that there was another possibility that Tan Shahan might have returned to Yongcheng. Zhang Chen thought it was impossible. He said, if she returns to Yongcheng, where can she go? Of course she is going home. She is taking Nan Nan with her. How can Lao Tan deny Nan Nan? Lu Ligan said. Yes, her grandpa likes Nan Nan, Xiao Zhao said from the side. There are no buses to Yongcheng after 4:30. The only possibility for Tan Shahan to go back to Yongcheng is to take a taxi. From Hangcheng to Yongcheng, a taxi costs at least 500 yuan. Even Lu Ligan felt that it was too much. It is impossible for Tan Shahan to spend 500 yuan to take a taxi, but this is the only way to return to Yongcheng. From the time Tan Shahan left until now, if she had taken a taxi, she would have arrived by now. Lu Ligan couldn't call Tan Shahan's home phone number, so Zhang Chen had to call. Xiao Zhao said, I'll call. I know her parents. During the spring festival, I took Nanan to see them. What did the three of them want to tell Lao Tan and the others without worrying them? Xiao Zhao said, I directly asked Sister Shahan, and said that Sister Shahan went to Yongcheng on a business trip. I had something to do with her, and I thought she lived at home. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan thought about it and realized that this might be the only way. When Lao Tan and MRS Tan received this call, they would only scold Tan Shahan for having no conscience and not even go home to Yongcheng. they would not have any other ideas. Xiao Zhao called Tan Shahan's home phone, and it was Mrs. Tan who answered the phone. As a result, Tan Shahan did not come home. Xiao Zhao told her that if Sister Shahan comes back, Aunt, please tell her that I am looking for her. After hanging up the phone, the three of them went downstairs and continued searching separately. Apart from that, they couldn't figure out where Tan Shahan might have gone with Nan Nan. Lu Ligan drove the car and continued to drive along Stadium Road. It was still raining outside and the streets were empty. This time was the most deserted time in the entire city. Even taxis knew that this was the time. Wandering on the street, it is impossible to get business. They all find a place to stop, sleep for 2 or 3 hours, and then go to pick up those who get up early to catch the train. Lu Ligan drove slowly, looking both ways carefully as he drove. When he arrived at the intersection of Stadium Road and Woolen Road, Lu Ligan was suddenly shaken and cursed, "Lu Ligan, what the hell are you doing, what a fool." He was originally driving in the middle lane, so he didn't care. He changed lanes, turned right, and drove to the opposite side of Woolenman bus terminal. He saw a person sitting vaguely under the eaves of the station gate, and beside him was a large yes. The door to the waiting room behind me was closed, but there was still a light on inside, illuminating the doorway as well. Lu Ligan quickly stepped on the accelerator, and the car rushed out. He turned around at the intersection and drove back to the station entrance. He stopped the car. Lu Ligan got out of the car and saw the person sitting there, looking over here. It was Tan Shahan, still holding Nanan in her hand. Thank you to Panji Gerda, Riri Fanchu, and Dal Tin Soldier for the rewards. Thank you for your monthly votes from May, Xiaoxian Zibao, Wu Taiji, K. Kapan Ganquan, Book Friends 140915184929829, Book Friends 201807201259208875. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish everyone good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 926. Tan Shahan looked at Lu Ligan walking over and asked, "What are you doing here?" Lu Ligan asked, "What are you doing sitting here? Do you tube? You don't want me to care? It's late at night, and you have a child with you. I'm a stranger, and I will ask you what you are doing." "You say you don't want me to care," Lu Ligan shouted. "Do you know how many people there are now looking for you? Why are you looking for me? I just want to be here, waiting for the early train back to Yongcheng. Then what? Leave Nanan to her grandparents, and I will go out to work on my own." "Tan Shahan, is there something humming wrong with you? Just for a few words, you come to play this. You are the only one who is sick. Am I in the mood to play?" Tan Shahan scolded back. "What do you want from me? Do you want to wait until others come to scratch my shameless face, or do you want to humiliate me in public? Is Xiao Zhao that kind of person?" "I don't know, I'm afraid of myself." "Okay," Tan Shahan said. "What are you afraid of yourself?" "I'm afraid if someone goes crazy in front of me and says those words, I will kill him on the spot, no matter who he is. Do you understand? I, Tan Shahan, will never be angry like that again." Lu Ligan sighed and said, "Even if we want to leave, let's make it clear to everyone. It's a good time to get back together and a good time to part ways. Why should we be so impulsive? Lu Ligan, please listen to me clearly. I am not acting on impulse. I am here to be knowledgeable. Do you understand? People like to catch wind and shadows, and I have to tell them that I don't have these things. Isn't it too boring? This, mainly because Wang Linghua keeps calling Xiao Zhao. It's ridiculous. I live under her eyes every day. How about Zhang Chen and I? Can't she see it? I don't believe what I see every day. I would rather believe other people's calls. What do you want me to do? I'm already very pay attention, I won't say a word to Zhang Chenduo. We are in a theater troupe, right? She is my boss lady, and I am eating her food. Lu Ligan, you said she doubted me, what else can I do except walk away? Lu Ligan sighed and said, let's go back first and talk about it tomorrow. Tan Shahen shook her head and said, go away, Pole. Really, I won't go back. I've already thought about it. Let's go, find a hotel and stay there first, and then we'll talk about it after we wake up. Tan Shahen shook her head, I'm right here, but a few hours passed in a flash. Then come to my place. The rooms Wen Wen and Qian used to live in are still empty. Stay here first. You must at least give Zhang Chen some time. How much time should I give Zhang Chen? Tan Shahen was curious. Tan Shahen, are you really stupid or are you pretending to be stupid? Do you think this matter is that simple? Now Zhang Chen, Xiao Zhao, Lao Tan and many others are looking for you. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao were already unhappy about you. Don't you know Zhang Chen? If you just leave like this, do you know what will happen? Although it is not your intention, it is very likely that they will break up. Is this what you want to see? Tan Shahen remained silent. She felt that Lu Ligan's words were right. If she left like this, Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao would definitely make a big fuss, especially after what happened to Xiao Wu. Everyone's emotions were mixed. Unstable. Lu Ligan continued, if you really feel that you can't stay at Zhang Chen's place, then go to my place. There is no boss lady there. Tan Shahen glared at him, and Lu Ligan quickly said, no, I didn't mean that. I mean, I don't have a boss lady there, and no one will be jealous of you. Tan Shahen burst into laughter. Lu Ligan smiled and said, really, just think that we are just acquaintances and old colleagues. I also hope you can go. Think about it, for a stall as big as mine, I have to have someone to help me manage it. I can't recruit anyone. I don't trust people who know the truth, but you, Tan Shahen, I know, you are a righteous person who refuses to be corrupted and will never touch you. Screw you. Really, well, at least you are not the kind of person who is evil and can harm others. I can rest assured that I will leave the company to you. And. Lu Ligan sighed. He also thought of what Tan Shahen thought of and said. What happened to Xiao Wu just happened, and everyone felt bad. Zhang Chen and I both blame ourselves and feel that we have not fulfilled our responsibilities. If you leave, don't say anything bad about me. Even Zhang Chen I won't forgive myself. Tan Shahen was silent again, and Lu Ligan said, really, no matter what, you have to live here first, and I won't force you. Let's talk about the rest later, okay? If you just leave like this, as I said before, it will not be easy for them to really break up Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao. Even if they are friends, are you willing to break them up? Besides, we have to concentrate on dealing with Xiao Wu first. Can we ourselves settle down first? Tan Shahen was a little moved. Lu Ligan reached out to hug Xiang Nan. He told Tan Shahen, you can sit here all night. People from our troop, I know that they can endure any hardship, but you can't let Nan follow you, who are dining and sleeping outside like this. Go ahead and settle down first. We can talk about other things later when everyone is calm. Lu Lizan's hand touched Xiang Nan's face. He was startled and shouted, Tan Shahen, how did you become a mother? You didn't even know Nan had a high fever. Tan Shahen was shocked when she heard this. Then she felt that Xiang Nan's whole body was hot. No wonder there was no sound at all. Lu Lizan snatched Xiangnan from Tan Shahen's arms and shouted, quickly, go to the hospital. Tan Shahen did not dare to hesitate and stood up immediately. When they got to the car, Tan Shahen hugged Xiang Nan and felt that she was getting hotter and hotter. Tan Shahen called Nan 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 Nan, and Xiang Nan responded in a daze, breathing rapidly. Tan Shahen was so anxious that she almost cried. She kept saying, everything was fine before, so why did she have a high fever? Lu Ligan said, don't worry, are you caught in the rain in front of you? Tan Shahen kept nodding her head, and Lu Ligan understood. He had also heard Zhang Chen's mother's call earlier. He was caught in the rain and frightened. It would be strange if he didn't have a fever while sitting there with the cold wind blowing. They quickly arrived at the child care center, checked into the emergency room, arranged a bed in the infusion room, and hooked up saline water. They looked at Xiang Nan lying there, his breathing gradually becoming more even, and then the two of them heaved a sigh of relief. Tan Shahen sat beside the hospital bed, holding Xiang Nan's hand. Lu Ligan walked outside, picked up the mobile phone, and called Xiao Zhao first. He told Xiao Zhao that Tan Shahen was found, but Nanan had a high fever, and we are now in the children's health care department with salt water. Xiao Zhao was surprised and happy, and quickly said, we will come right away. Lu Ligan then called Lao Tan and others, telling them that Tan Shahen had been found, and asked them all to go back, thanking them. Lu Ligan thought for a moment and made another call. In less than 10 minutes, Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao arrived. The two ran into the ward and saw Tan Shahen and Xiang Nan. Xiao Zhao quickly touched Xiang Nan's forehead and called Nan 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 Nan. Xiang Nan opened his eyes. See them and smile. Everyone felt relieved. Xiao Zhao turned around, took Tan Shahen's hand and said, Sister Shahen, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said those words. Tan Shahen shook her head. While they were talking, they heard Zhang Chen's mother shouting from the corridor outside, Nanan, 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 where are you? A nurse immediately went out and asked her to keep her voice down. When she heard the noise, Lu Ligan hurriedly walked out. Zhang Chen's mother saw him and told the nurse, I found it. I found it. I won't say anything. The nurse laughed. Zhang Chen's parents brought Xiang Bei in. As soon as Zhang Xiangbei saw Xiang Nan, he ran over and hugged her. Xiang Nan also stretched out the hand without the hanging needle and hugged Xiang Bei. Zhang Xiangbei touched Xiang Nan's hand with the needle and asked, Sister, does it hurt? Xiang Nan shook his head and said, My sister doesn't feel any pain. Xiangbei and Xiang Nan said, Sister, don't go. Xiang Nan nodded, and both of them started to cry. Zhang Chen's mother looked at them, wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes, turned around and saw Xiao Zhao and Tan Shahen. Wu Ming became angry, and suddenly pushed them with her hands and cursed, get out, you adults, what can I do for you adults? I'm too lazy to care, but none of you can take Nan Nan away again. She pushed them both out, glared at Zhang Chen, and cursed, get out too. The four adults were rushed to the corridor and stood there dumbfounded. Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen said, it's okay. Let's go outside to smoke. Zhang Chen agreed, and the two of them walked out. Xiao Zhao held Tan Shahen's hand. He walked to the row of chairs in the corridor and sat down. After lighting a cigarette, Zhang Chen asked, why did my parents come? Did you call them? Lu Ligan chuckled, this woman needs a woman to deal with her. Look, when the old lady comes, she can't go south. If she can't go south, can Tan Shahen still go? Zhang Chen also smiled and asked, where did you find them? Lu Ligan said that at the entrance of Wulanmen bus station, Tan Shahen and Xiang Nan were waiting for the morning bus back to Yongcheng. Even Yongcheng wants to go back. It seems that Tan Shahen is determined to leave Zhang Chen's side. You don't know her temper. She never gives in. Not only can she not tolerate sand in her eyes, but she can't tolerate sand in her heart. This time, I'm afraid it's hard to recover. She said she wanted to take Nan Nan back to hand over Lao Tan, Go out and work by yourself, Lu Ligan said. Jiang Chen sighed and said, if it were the same with me, she had suffered injustice in Yongcheng. Who could bear it again in Hangcheng? Lu Ligan glared at Jiang Chen and cursed, you are all the same, you have a retarded brain. When you go back to Yongcheng, tell Xiaozhao, why will so many things happen? Jiang Chen said anxiously, then the police told me not to say. When did you, Jiang Chen, behave like this? Is the police your wife or is Xiaozhao your wife? You should at least ask how Xiaozhao's grandmother is doing, and then tell her about going to Yongcheng, otherwise, any woman would think that way. Yes, until now, Jiang Chen still doesn't know what happened to Xiaozhao's grandmother. I've been discharged from the hospital. It's okay, Lu Ligan said, you are just too sure of yourself and Xiaozhao. You feel that your relationship will be fine no matter what. Jiang Chen scratched his head and felt that there was such a meaning, so he not only went out with Tan Shahen, but also with He Hongmei before. They just said they would go out together, and never said hello to Xiaozhao in advance. In this way, even when doing things, it is the same. The decision is made immediately without discussing it with Xiaozhao first. Jiang Chen just felt that the relationship between him and Xiaozhao was too strong and they trusted each other too much, so he was a little confident and felt that no matter what he did, Xiaozhao would understand and agree. Jiang Chen thought about it and was still a little unconvinced. He argued that the main reason was that it was Xiao Wu who had the accident and he was anxious at the time. Think about it, if we had gone a step later, Xiao Wu might have been shot dead on the spot. How could we have done that? Don't worry, why bother with anything else? Thank you to the 10,000 Years White Vote Party, ranked third from top to bottom, and 131 on the shore for the reward. Thank you Shifang Xian and Tang Wei for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 927. Tan Shahen and Xiaozhao were sitting in the corridor. Xiaozhao still said sorry to Tan Shahen. Tan Shahen and Xiaozhao said, Xiaozhao, you are doing the right thing. You are protecting your family. Whatever you do is right, the two of us. It just doesn't smell right, you know? But it's no one's fault. The smell is blocked, Xiaozhao was puzzled. Tan Shahen smiled and said, you are the kind of person who will not unconditionally trust the other person as soon as you get to know him. In fact, I know that you have always been wary of me. This is not wrong. It shows that you care about Jiang Chen very much and are afraid of losing him. Xiaozhao nodded thoughtfully. She felt that what Tan Shahen said was similar. She understood that she and He Hongmei were like this, so she felt relieved about her. Xiaozhao secretly sighed. She wondered why she couldn't do this for Tan Shahen. Although she repeatedly told herself that Tan Shahen and Jiang Chen were nothing, they were just old colleagues, but as soon as she saw Tan Shahen and Jiang Chen when we are together, she will still feel uncomfortable reflexively and be secretly jealous. So this is why she listened very well when Huang Linghua called her and told her those things. She would not be alert to whether Huang Linghua had ulterior motives. Instead, she would feel that Huang Linghua was kindly reminding herself that she was standing be on your own side and think for yourself. Sister Shahen, I know I was wrong, you should go back, Xiaozhao begged. Tan Shahen shook her head and said to Xiaozhao seriously. Xiaozhao, I really wasn't impulsive. It's actually good for everyone if I leave. There's nothing we can do about the smell. Don't try to convince yourself. You just convinced yourself today. When you see me and Zhang tomorrow, even if we are together in the morning, I still feel uncomfortable, Xiaozhao, to be honest, am I right? Xiaozhao smiled sheepishly, pouted, and muttered, who makes my sister so beautiful? Tan Shahen laughed, you are also very beautiful, Xiaozhao, and I will tell you the truth. I am here, and you and Zhang Chen are very kind to me. However, I can feel it myself. I am very reserved and not at all relaxation. I don't like this state very much. I also hope that I can relax and devote myself to work, but I can't. I am very careful every day. Why? I'm afraid you will think too much. I always feel like there is a pair of eyes watching me from behind. Do you know what it was like when we were in the troupe? Zhang Chen would walk in front, and I would suddenly run up and ride to him. He had to carry me on his back. At that time, the Pole and I were still in love, and the Pole would only laugh and say, "Don't come down, it will tire him out." Xiao Zhao said, "The Pole and Zhang Chen have the same smell. He told me, he said, even if you and Zhang Chen are put on the same bed, nothing will happen to you." Tan Shahen smiled, then sighed, and said, "Do you know why?" Xiao Zhao shook his head, and Tan Shahen said, "Because when Zhang Chen and I were together, even if it was just the two of us alone, in fact, we were never two people, we were always three people." Three people. Yes, when the two of us are together, there is always Zhang Chen between us. I think, when you and the Pole are together, for the Pole, there is always Zhang Chen between you. This person is invisible, but because it is invisible, you can't get rid of him. No matter how much time passes, even if I marry someone else, the Pole between me and Zhang Chen will always be there. Xiao Zhao seemed to understand Tan Shahen's words, but she seemed to have known them before. She recalled what Lu Ligan said in Tan Shahen's room earlier, and felt that what he said and what Tan Shahen said actually meant the same. The relationship between Zhang Chen and I is very much like that of brother and sister, and they are very good brothers and sisters. We have always been on good terms, but you said, Xiao Zhao, aren't brothers and sisters also men and women? There is no difference. Their hands and feet are tied, so why don't they mess around? It's a bit like what I said before, there is an invisible thing between them, which has always existed. Tan Shahen looked at Xiao Zhao and said seriously. But Zhang Chen and I are not brothers and sisters after all. So many times, there are many actions that we think are nothing, but in the eyes of others, they are abnormal, have thoughts, and feel uncomfortable. So I said, leaving will be good for you, me, and Zhang Chen. But, Sister Shahen, if you refuse to go back, I just feel that I did something wrong and it was me who caused the harm, Xiao Zhao said. Tan Shahen held Xiao Zhao's hand with her left hand and patted the back of her hand with her right hand. Tan Shahen said, Xiao Zhao, don't think so. You have done nothing wrong. As far as this matter is concerned, Xiao Zhao, if it were me, I would be unhappy and have random thoughts. This is also my negligence. Before leaving, I should remind Zhang Chen to call you and tell you. I thought he had already called you. Also, if someone speaks ill of you in front of me every day, I may feel disgusted in the first 2 days, then I will feel indifferent after 2 days, and after another 2 days, I will be confused and think, are you just like him? In the end, I will believe what he said. So, it's not your fault, Xiao Zhao, it's the person who called who was too bad and too persistent. Xiao Zhao shook her head and said, Sister Shahen, no matter what, if you really have to leave, I will still be sad. I just left the company, I didn't disappear. We will still see each other, and we are still good friends, Xiao Zhao. Tan Shahen said, in addition, Xiao Wan can now take charge of the store, so it's time to give her a chance. Xiaoli has been the store manager for so long. Do you know that Xiao Wan is also holding back a lot of energy in her heart? And don't worry, I will teach her how to do some things, especially those VIP customers. No, Xiao Zhao quickly shook his head, Sister Shahen, I'm not worried about things in the store. I still can't bear to let you go. Tan Shahen joked, aren't you afraid that if you keep me, I will snatch Zhang Chen away? Xiao Zhao smiled sheepishly, I still worry about it, but I know you won't do that. Thank you for your trust, Xiao Zhao. I know this is not easy, Tan Shahan said. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan came back. Xiao Zhao looked at them and said to Zhang Chen with a sad face, Sister Shahan just refuses to forgive me, she still has to leave. Zhang Chen winked at her and shook his head slightly. Zhang Chen walked up to Tan Shahan and said to her, Tan Shahan, if you really want to leave, you can. I'll give you a choice. What choice? Then it's you, either stay here with me or go to the pole, choose one. What are you doing, Zhang Chen, what do you mean, you want to commit to me a lifetime? Or do you think that I, Tan Shahan, am not capable enough and I can't live without you too? No, you Tan Shahan are very capable, but I am worried about the pole, Zhang Chen said with a smile, his impulsive personality requires you to help him and take good care of the house for him. I won't go, Tan Shahan shook her head, why should I let you arrange my own affairs? It's okay if you don't go. If you don't go, go back to the Yan'an Road store. You, Tan Shahan, have a stubborn temper, and I, Zhang Chen, are also stubborn. Let's see who is more stubborn than the other. When Zhang Chen said this, he suddenly laughed and said to Tan Shahan, if you don't go, I will talk about Zuyecking. Tan Shahan's face suddenly turned red and she pointed at Zhang Chen. Lu Ligan and Xiao Zhao were confused and didn't know what Zhang Chen was talking about the bamboo leaf green. Tan Shahan lowered her head and thought for a while, then raised her head and looked at Lu Ligan and asked, have you thought about it? Do you really want me to go to your company? Lu Ligan nodded and said, I've thought about it a long time ago. Aren't you afraid that if I go, I will make a big fuss in the heavenly palace? Or are you afraid that if I go, you will feel constrained? Not afraid. Well, I want to go to your company, and I have to make an agreement with you. Okay, 30 chapters or 300 chapters are fine, Lu Ligan smiled playfully. Tan Shahan frowned and cursed, be serious, I mean it. Lu Ligan said seriously, okay, I'm very serious. First, when I go to your place, we have a very simple relationship. You are the boss and I am a part-time worker. I only go to your place to earn a salary so that I can raise my daughter. I will also keep mine. Dutiful, second. Before Tan Shahan finished speaking, Zhang Chen interrupted her and cursed. Tan Shahan, can you please stop doing this kind of vain thing? What kind of agreement is there? Is there any employee who asks the boss like this? And he also said that he will abide by his duty. Is this your duty as an employee? I think between you it's very simple, it's just one thing. When you don't want to, the pole can't force the bow to the bow, unless you agree to accept it. Lu Ligan laughed loudly, and Tan Shahan glared at Zhang Chen, furious. After Xiang Nan finished hanging in salt water, he got into Xiao Zhao's car and went home with Zhang Chen's parents and Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Chen sent Tan Shahan to Lu Ligan's car, and then got on it himself. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan said that Xiangnan would be a hostage and would be held here. You, Tan Shahan, go to Boss Liu's place and do your best. Tan Shahan said, okay, I am not happy if someone helps me raise my daughter. Lu Ligan first went to Jingxiu home to see Zhang Chen home, and then drove away with Tan Shahan. After returning home, Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen said, dear, I still feel uncomfortable in my heart. I feel that Sister Shahan was driven away by me. Zhang Chen smiled and said, good luck, you didn't see it, this bad thing might turn into a good thing, the pole is the biggest winner tonight, we were outside in front, and he begged me to let Tan Shahan go. Xiao Zhao said angrily, why are you men so rogue? Why are you a gangster? Between them, the man is unmarried and the woman is unmarried. Everything is natural and natural. Why, you don't want them to be together? No, Xiao Zhao thought for a moment, but couldn't think of anything. She said, of course I hope they can be together, but, I just don't think it's that simple. Sister Shahen won't be with the pole yet. Why? I don't know, that's how I feel anyway. Sister Shahen mentioned the three-part agreement earlier. I thought she was very serious, but you interrupted her. Zhang Chen sighed, it depends on fate. By the way, dear, what is bamboo leaf green? Xiao Zhao asked. Zhang Chen quickly laughed, bamboo leaf green is wine. Now there is also a kind of tea, which is also bamboo leaf green. Don't you know? Then what does this have to do with Sister Shahen? We made a bet, and she still hasn't given me what she lost to me. Xiao Zhao said. Oh. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 928. It has been raining heavily in Hangzhou for several days, and newspapers said that floods have begun to rise in Anhui and other places. When Zhang Chen and the others were young, there were almost no outsiders in the whole town. Only during the flood season every year, a large group of Anhui people would escape from the floods, stay in the town for half a month, and then go back, like Zhang Chen's mother and the others. There are many people in the town who every year sort out the old clothes that they cannot wear at home and give them to them at this time. Even these people are roughly fixed every year, and those who come to their town are basically familiar faces. At this time, the water in Lanjiang, Zinanjiang, and Fukunjiang must be muddy, and the water level has risen a lot. Zhang Chen thought of the Fukunjiang they saw from the top of the mountain. It was like a river. He didn't know. Now if we look at it from there, is it Bailian or Huanglian? If it is still Bailian, then it would be strange. Why is the muddy yellow water in a river still white when viewed from a height? Zhang Chen stood at the window and looked outside. The water level of the Jiangnan Canal has also risen a lot. Towers A and B of splendid Jiangnan have been capped, and construction of interior and exterior wall finishes has begun. The main structure of Tower C is also halfway through construction. If there are 2 months, it can also be capped. In such weather, outdoor construction has stopped, but indoors, interior wall painting and water and electricity installation must still be in full swing. Zhang Chen looked at the 3 buildings standing in the rain, and when he thought of the old spring factory, he felt like he was in another world. Fortunately, they still retain some relics of the past at the bottom of the building. Otherwise, this world would no one knows it ever existed. All history, as long as it is not recorded in writing, will disappear completely. If errors are recorded, history will exist as errors. No one knows what is hidden behind it. When Zhang Chen was drawing Lucen and Einstein for them at the Yongcheng County Library, he would go to their library to look around when he had nothing to do. Once, he saw a set of Ziji Tongjian on the shelf. This book is very famous and has been mentioned repeatedly in history textbooks. It has always been regarded as a trustworthy historical text with rich historical materials, detailed narratives, and the same as historical records. Zhang Chen accidentally turned to a page. That page said that Yang Guang, Emperor Yang of the Sui dynasty, liked to look in the mirror. He admired his neck in front of the bronze mirror and said, "Such a good neck, I don't know who will chop it off in the future it?" Zhang Chen couldn't help laughing at that time. Isn't this nonsense? Some people like to look at their necks when looking in the mirror, and they will praise their necks, and they will think that someone is going to chop them, and they will be heard talking to themselves. Where did Sima Guang know this? Or did he suddenly have an idea when he was smashing the vat? Zhang Chen immediately lost confidence in the so-called historical records. He thought that there would probably be a lot of such nonsense and conjecture in historical records, and our history is based on these nonsense. Is it still worth believing? Just like this spring factory and that big house, the people who live in it and make up the history of this house are all living people. Everyone has their own thoughts and experiences, and every family has its joys and sorrows. Who are these people? Would you know? They exist as if they don't exist. If they disappear, they will disappear forever. No one will know the real them. Just like the newspapers in the past 2 days have published Xiao Wu's case. Wu Zhaoqiang is Wu XX, and Wu XX is here in the newspaper. There is a heinous villain and murderer. Who knows the real Wu XX behind this? Who knows he will be missed by many people too? Is it a heinous crime to miss Wu XX, a murderer? Zhang Chen saw Lu Ligan's hottie driving in. The security guards below all recognized Lu Ligan's car and knew that he was a friend of the boss. They quickly ran over and guided him to an internal parking space that they had designated. Stopped and parked next to Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao's car. Lu Ligan and Tan Shahan got out of the car, opened their umbrellas with a bang, and walked towards the stairs upstairs. Tan Shahan is already working for Lu Ligan. Her position is the general manager of Zhejiang Jingxiu Dadi Real Estate Co., Limited, and the original Mr. Lu is now Director Lu. Chairman Lu is actually a piece of shit. He is the only shareholder of his company. There is no board of directors between the two of him and his father, Lao Lu. Even Lao Lu didn't know that it was Lu Ligan who took his ID card and registered it directly. He wanted to prevent the company from becoming a one-person unlimited liability company. If Lao Lu was added, it would become a limited liability company, and even the shareholders would. All the signatures on the meeting resolutions were signed by Lu Ligan himself pretending to be Lao Lu. If old Lu knew that he was still a shareholder of this company, he would have taken his shareholder status and exchanged it for wine. No matter how much wine Lu Ligan gave him, old Lu felt that it was not as good as the wine he exchanged. What he got in exchange was what he earned. As for how Lu Ligan would wipe his ass later, that was Lu Ligan's business. Tan Shahan works as the general manager there, but whenever she has time, she still goes to the Ban Mu Tian store on Yan'an Road to help Xiaowan, mainly those VIP customers, all of whom are arrogant ladies. They didn't think much of Xiaowan. Tan Shahan had appeared on TV, had a photo taken with Miss Gong, and looked so down to earth, so she was suitable to serve them. Tan Shahan and Zhang Chen said that in the future, every celebrity Wen Wen brings, regardless of whether she accepts her business, will ask her to take them around the store, take a photo with Xiaowan, and post it in the VIP room. Sure enough, as there are more and more photos of Xiaowan and celebrities on the wall, those Ps are becoming more and more accepting of her. Zhang Chen turned around in front of the window and saw Lu Ligan and Tan Shahan coming up one after another. Lu Ligan walked directly into Zhang Chen's office, and Tan Shahan went to Xiao Zhao's place next door. After a while, she and Xiao Zhao came over and told the two of them, "Let's go." The four people went downstairs, got into Lu Ligan's car and set off. They were going to Hangzhou City Intermediate People's Court. Today was the day for the verdict of Xiao Wu's case. They arrived at the trial hall of the Hangcheng Intermediate People's Court. Although this case has attracted widespread public attention in recent days, the control over who can enter and observe is very strict. It is said that the identity of the deceased is sensitive. Lu Ligan got 4 tickets through his connections, representing Xiao Wu's relatives and friends. When they got inside, they found that apart from the relatives of the deceased, there were only 4 of them on the side of the 3 murderers. The trial has been held in the smallest hall of the middle court, with only 20 or 30 auditoriums, but the 2 groups of people sitting there were still empty. Even for the media, only CCTV and Shanghai's Democracy and Legal System magazine were allowed to enter, as well as the local Qianzhong Evening News, Hangcheng Daily and provincial and municipal TV stations. Lu Ligan was acquainted with the political and legal reporter of Hangcheng Daily. When he saw Lu Ligan, he came over. Lu Ligan quietly asked him, "How is it? Do you have any inside information?" The other party only said one word, "Hanging." The 4 people suddenly became nervous. When Xiao Wu came in, he saw Zhang Chen and the others and smiled at them. Lu Ligan said anxiously, "You idiot, don't laugh. The judge is watching. You must show a heavy-hearted and repentant expression. Why are you laughing?" The other 3 also felt that Xiao Wu's smile was too inappropriate. They didn't even dare to reply to him and pretended not to see it. To their left, the strong wife and daughter were still crying, which was pitiful. Who knew that if a person endured it alone, he would become successful and famous, and the family would be able to live happily together from now on. Unexpectedly there is such a sudden misfortune. Lu Ligan said, if this primitive beast had evolved into a beast with clothes earlier, this kind of thing would not have happened. It is not a big deal. Why argue and argue? Only the primitive beasts can really do that. They all know that if they do this, they will take up legal weapons to defend their rights. They sat there and listened to the judge's words, which were extremely cruel. The crime was particularly egregious. The impact is particularly significant. The consequences are particularly serious. The four people felt that every special nail was a nail, ding 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 ding, that was going to nail Xiao Wu to the gallows, and their hearts grew colder and colder. As a result, Wang Chao was the main culprit and was sentenced to death and executed immediately. The driver was an accessory. After being arrested, he actively confessed his crime. He was punished for several crimes and was sentenced to life imprisonment. Xiao Wu is also an accessory, because Lao Tai testified for him, and the circumstances of Xiao Wu's surrender were accepted by the judge. Furthermore, the lawyer discovered in the driver's confession that the driver said that the reason why he held down De Zhuang was because he saw De Zhuang was about to get up and resist. The lawyer said that this can prove that the blow Xiao Wu rushed in to pick up the ashtray and gave De Zhuang was not enough to cause De Zhuang's death. Xiao Wu, as a security guard, not to mention bodyguard, saw the situation at that time, and considering the difference between his height of 1.6 meters and De Zhuang's height of over 1.80 meters, he took an ashtray and hit De Zhuang to stop him. His further beating of Wang Chao was justified to a certain extent. The most important thing is that Xiao's relatives and friends actively provided financial compensation to the family of the deceased after the incident and gained their understanding. To sum up, the judge finally pronounced the verdict and decided to punish the criminal Wu Zhaoqiang for several crimes and execute a fixed-term prison sentence of 20 years. The four of them, Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan, let out a long sigh. When Xiao Wu was taken away from the court, when he walked in front of his family members, he bent down and bowed to them. Zhang Chen returned to the office. He picked up the phone and called Feng Logui to tell him the news. Feng Logui also breathed a long sigh of relief on the phone. He said it was okay, this was the best. The result is, Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen nodded and said yes, Lao Gui, please tell me the address of Xiao Wu's home and his father's name. Feng Logui told him. Zhang Chen wrote the address and name on a piece of paper, and then wrote the words Wu Zhaoqiang underneath. Zhang Chen called Zhao Jingjing over. He pointed to Wu Zhaoqiang and said to her, starting from this month, when you make the salary schedule, add this person in, and his salary will be sent to this place every month. Okay, Mr. Zhang, what is his salary standard? Zhao Jingjing asked. It's the same as me. I pay him as much as I want. When I raise my salary, he also raises my salary. Zhang Chen and Zhao Jingjing said that he knew that Xiao Wu's mother was still paralyzed in bed, and his younger brother and sister were still studying. Thank you to Dal Tin Soldier and RIRI Shushu for the reward. Thank you Kandera, VP, Wooden Man, Book Friends 201807221317142114, Chef Hu, Bustling Farce, Fskrftderg, Book Friends 1611231040266624 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 929. Zhao Xian and Yao Fen sent by Zhang Chen had returned from Chongqing and Beijing respectively. Zhang Chen sent Zhao Xian to Shenyang Liuyi, but the task was still the same, and he sent Yao Fen to Shanghai. There is no specific school in Shanghai. He asked Yao Fen to find a way to contact and understand the Shanghai Oil Painting and Sculpture Institute. After contacting the Shanghai Oil Painting and Sculpture Institute, he could basically get acquainted with the oil painting community in Shanghai, such as Zhang Chongren, Harding, Wu Deu, Zhou Bichu, Chen Yifei, Qi Ruimin, etc. all came from the Shanghai Oil Painting and Sculpture Institute. Chen Danking, Han Xian, and Yu Ziofu are also more or less connected with the Oil Painting and Sculpture Institute. Zhang Chen and Yao Fen said, "There are hidden dragons and crouching tigers in Shanghai. You should be careful. You must know that most of the history of modern Chinese literature and art is in Shanghai. There may be gold buried in every nook and corner, waiting for you to dig out." Yao Fen smiled and said, "Boss, am I going to Shanghai to work as a miner?" "Yes, you can say that." Zhang Chen smiled. Yao Fen arrived in Shanghai. More than a week later, she called Zhang Chen and asked Zhang Chen if she wanted to buy Wu Deu's paintings. "Boss." Zhang Chen said he wanted it. "Where can I get it?" "There is a person here in Shanghai who has it, but he is more troublesome. He must sell a lot of things together and refuses to sell them one by one." "What's going on?" Zhang Chen asked. "He is an art teacher in a middle school in Shanghai. He seems to have studied in France in his early years. He first studied at the National Art College in Hangzhou. He has many paintings by his teachers, classmates, and friends at home. After the teacher passed away, his son was going to sell these paintings, but he didn't want to sell them separately. He asked to buy them all at once. The asking price was 1.8 million. How could anyone have so much money? So this matter, in Shanghai among the painting people, word spread that they knew he had good stuff there, but they couldn't afford it. I heard about Wu Deu. Boss, when you were recruiting, didn't you write about Wu Deu? I didn't know who Wu Deu was, but I remembered his name, so I had someone take me to see it, and I saw the house in his house. There are indeed many paintings." As soon as Zhang Chen heard this, he knew that this person had a good background. The National Art College was the predecessor of Zhejiang Academy of Fine Arts. Lin Fengmian was the first principal appointed by Cai Yuanpi. Wu Deu, Lin Wenzheng, Lu Kaiku, etc. were all teachers here. Wu Guanzhong, Zhao Wuji, Chu Taichun, etc. were all students here, and later went to France. It seems that this teacher followed the same path as them. Zhang Chen and Yao Fen said, "I will come right away." Zhang Chen called the second person and went to Shanghai. When he arrived in Shanghai, it was already past 7 o'clock in the evening. Yao Fen was waiting for him in the lobby of the Portman Hotel and told him that he had made an appointment with his son to go to his house to see paintings at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Zhang Chen said yes. Zhang Chen and Yao Fen said, "You will stay here today, and we will go to our own store later. You are all members of the company, and you should have some understanding of the company. By the way, if you have anything to do in Shanghai in the future, you can ask our manager here for help. She is a local and will introduce you to her later." Yao Fen looked at Zhang Chen and said excitedly, "Boss, can I stay here at night? Isn't this too luxurious? Then what should we do?" "Otherwise, we can stay at your hotel," Zhang Chen said with a smile. "No, no, no," Yao Fen quickly shook his head. "I'd better live here, and I can benefit from the boss." After completing the check-in procedures and walking to the elevator, Zhang Chen remembered that when he was in Haikan, the introduction of Panchi Decoration Company prepared by Habishan said that this place was designed and constructed by himself. Zhang Chen couldn't help but when he started laughing, Yao Fen and Erguo were puzzled by his laughter. The deceased art teacher lived in an old house on Sichuan Middle Road. It was a 3-story old-style bungalow. Their family occupied 2 rooms on the second floor. The teacher's son's surname was Chiu, and his name was Chiu Leixin. He was also a middle school teacher, but he teaches mathematics. Chiu Leixin was waiting for them at the gate of the bungalow. It seemed that he had tidied himself up so that he, a painting seller, could look fresher. Chiu Leixin took them to his home. The home was very small, and one room was divided into 2 rooms. His mother and his deceased father lived in half of the house, and the outside half was where his younger brother slept and the whole family ate. The bed was turned over during the day. Go up and make room for eating, put away the foldable dining table and stool at night, and put down the bed so that his brother can sleep. Chiu Leixin's family of 3 lived in a smaller room across the street. Apart from a bed, a desk, and a chest of drawers, there was little space in the room. His son was in the 2nd grade of elementary school, and he still slept in the same bed as the couple. Chiu Leixin looked at Yao Fen and did not shy away from his suspicion. He told Zhang Chen that it was too late to have sex as a couple at night. Cooking is done in the public kitchen on the 2nd and a half floor, where there are 6 gas stoves from 6 households in the whole building. In addition to the gas stove, there is a square stool-sized place next to the gas stove, where chopping boards and oil, salt, sauce, and vinegar are placed. There is no unnecessary space. There are 2 faucets in total, shared by 6 households. Because the electricity and water bills in the kitchen are also shared equally by 6 households, everyone keeps an eye on them when they are used more or less. Chiu Leixin led Zhang Chen and Yao Fen to the half of the room where his mother lived. The old lady, his mother, the widow of the deceased middle school art teacher, sat with a straight face on a glass window. In a wicker chair on the large balcony. This is also the only spacious place in the house. On both sides of the balcony, there are 2 wooden cabinets, and the paint on the outside has peeled off. The curtains were drawn on the balcony windows. Even so, because the windows were closed, it was still very stuffy. An old electric fan on the cabinet was humming, bringing a little wind. Chiu Leixin told the old lady, "Mom, Boss Ila came to see the painting." The old lady stood up, looked at Zhang Chen coldly, then at Yao Fen, walked halfway outside, and sat on the edge of the dining table. The idiot couldn't squeeze in, so she sat on the other side of the dining table. Chiu Leixin put the wicker chair where the old lady was sitting on the bed to make room. He first opened the doors of the 2 cabinets near the balcony, called Zhang Chen over, and said apologetically to Yao Fen, "Miss, you just now that he was outside." Yao Fen smiled and said it was okay. Chiu Leixin asked Zhang Chen to stand side by the window with him. After the 2 of them stood still, he reached out and opened the other half of the doors of the cabinets on both sides. When the 2 doors were opened, they separated the inside and the outside. Chiu Leixin and Zhang Chen stood inside the 2 doors, Yao Fen is outside. The weather was sultry, the space inside was too small, and the distance between the 2 people was too close. Zhang Chen could smell Chiu Leixin's bad breath. Chiu Leixin pointed to the cabinets on both sides and told Zhang Chen that they were all inside. Zhang Chen saw that there were picture frames inside, and there were stacks of them, which were directly canvases and oil painting papers. There were not even picture frames. They were separated by pictures and newspapers. Zhang Chen said regretfully that this would not happen. Boring. Chiu Leixin said no, Alaya and Ala Niang would open the cupboard door before going to bed at night. The place was too small, and 2 people couldn't squat down at the same time. Chiu Leixin had to stand at attention. Zhang Chen squatted down and took out one by one and looked at it. Zhang Chen was shocked when he saw it. He didn't see half of it before he saw what was inside. They were all good things. He not only saw the works of Wu Dao and Lin Fengmian, but also the paintings of Zhao Waoqi, Wu Guanzhong, Chu Taichun and Wu Ziren. What makes Zhang Chen even more delighted are the works of Guan Liang, An Yide, Pang Sunken, Chang Yu, Hu Shanyu, Lu Saibai, Fang Qinmin, and others who were not well known in society at that time, but Zhang Chen thought they were excellent painters. Zhang Chen felt that there was no need to read any more. He stood up and said to Chiu Leixin, "Okay, close it." Chiu Leixin thought Zhang Chen looked down on him, so he got a little anxious and said to him, "Look over here, there are Pan Yuliang and Yan Wenliang here." In the eyes of ordinary people at that time, Pan Yuliang was the most famous painter because there was a TV series Pan Yuliang and a movie about her painting Soul, directed by Dongsheng and starring Pan Yuliang, Miss Gong. Coupled with the vivid legends in the tabloids, it is impossible to remain unknown. Yan Wenliang because many magazines at that time had his paintings on the second and third covers. But to be honest, it doesn't matter to Zhang Chen whether there are paintings of these two people. Chiu Leixin saw that Zhang Chen was a little indifferent to these two names, with obvious disappointment on his face. He thought Zhang Chen didn't hear clearly, so he asked again, "Boss, don't you take a look at Pan Yuliang's?" Zhang Chen smiled, shook his head and said, "Stop reading." Chiu Leixin sighed. He said it was a pity. There was originally a painting by Su Biong. "Boss, you will definitely like it. When I got married, I really had no choice but I sold it out." Zhang Chen smiled and said that Su Biong's oil paintings are actually average. Zhang Chen said so. Chiu Leixin had no choice but to close the cabinet door and let Zhang Chen out. Zhang Chen asked Chiu Leixin, "Do you have a list?" "Yes." Chiu Leixin quickly took out a list from the cabinet, which was copied on carbon paper. Zhang Chen looked at it and saw that there were 72 works in total. Zhang Chen looked at his watch and saw that it was already past 11 o'clock. Zhang Chen and Chiu Leixin said, "How about it? It's time to eat. Let's find a place to eat and talk about buying paintings while eating. I'll treat you." Chiu Leixin was stunned for a moment, and his face, which was already full of disappointment, suddenly became alive, and he quickly said, "Okay, thank you boss." Zhang Chen asked, "Teacher Chiu, can you alone make the decision when it comes to selling paintings, or should grandma make the decision together?" Chiu Leixin asked, "Boss, have you decided?" Zhang Chen said, "Yes, as long as the price can be negotiated, I will decide to take it. If this is the case, then I will have to call the alley and ask my brother to ask for leave and come back to talk." Chiu Leixin said. Zhang Chen took out his mobile phone and told Chiu Leixin to use my phone to make the call. Where I looked, there was an old Taiman restaurant. "Tell your brother to go directly to this hotel. We are there." While waiting for him, Chiu Leixin said okay. He asked Zhang Chen how to use Big Brother. Zhang Chen told him. He quickly took the Big Brother, went back to his room, and called his brother. The old lady heard their conversation, and her attitude towards Zhang Chen obviously changed. She invited him to sit at the dinner table, and told him that she was so annoyed that she had been bringing people to see her since Ila Ye died. Paintings are all made by people who have no money. They just look at them and then buy them. As Ila told me, the paintings in the house are very cheap and easy to sell. Chiu Leixin came back and told them that the call was connected and his brother would be back soon. Zhang Chen said, "Okay, let's go." Zhang Chen said to the old lady, "Grandma, let's go to dinner together and settle this matter at the dining place." Chiu Leixin hurriedly helped the old lady up. When everyone went out, the old lady locked the spring lock on the door, took out a key tied with a red rope from her pocket, opened the door and hung it on the side of the door. A padlock was added to the door, and another padlock was added. "Thank you for the tip from Half Asleep, third from top to bottom, and 131 on the shore. Thank you Kinkin's dad and Purple Po for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. I feel a little hurt writing about Xiao Wu, so let me take a break. I'll just do 2 updates today, please forgive me. The good news is that after such a long process, 0786 has been released, and interested friends can go back and take a look. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 930. They arrived at the Lao Taman restaurant and went up a narrow wooden staircase that could only accommodate one person, to a private room. This restaurant was originally one floor. In order to expand the business area, the boss built 3 private rooms upstairs and dug down the entire place 50 or 60 centimeters. To enter, you need to walk down 3 steps. The ceiling on the second floor is very low, so tall people probably need to keep their heads down. The box was also very cramped. Apart from a round table and a circle of chairs, there was no other furniture. The chair could only accommodate one person, and its back reached the wall. The people sitting inside had to be let in first before anyone outside could sit. You can sit down, otherwise, people inside will not be able to get in. During the meal, if someone inside gets up to go to the bathroom, people outside must also stand up first to let them out. Zhang Chen feels that now in Shanghai, all spaces seem to have suddenly become smaller and tighter. The space for each person's existence has also become longer and thinner. The physical distance between people has become closer, but the psychological distance has become farther. Because you must be very careful. Only in this way can you not infringe on others or be infringed by others. This is probably the reason why Shanghainese people are very fussy, but everyone is very obedient and responsible. That is, if I don't take advantage of you, you don't want to take advantage of me either. Everyone sticks to it. Their own petty advantages lead to conflicts among their parents. Although the private room is small, fortunately there is a window-type air conditioner. It is probably not fixed properly. It makes a bang 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 sound and blows air conditioning into the box. After a while, the temperature inside drops down. The sweat on people's faces and bodies has been taken away, making people feel comfortable. There were not many customers eating in the store, and the food was served quickly. Zhang Chen could tell that selling paintings requires a unanimous decision by 3 members of the family. If the younger brother was not available, the conversation would be in vain, so neither of them had any choice. He started talking about the painting itself, but chatted about other things. Chiu Lixin asked Boss Zhang what kind of business he was in. Zhang Chen told him, clothing. Chiu Lixin immediately said oh and said to him, just like those people on Kippa Road, I heard that those people on Kippa Road came from other places. When the clothes came back to Shanghai, they all made a fortune. Zhang Chen smiled, did not explain, and asked Teacher Chiu about his teaching situation. Teacher Chiu immediately became interested and talked about his lesson plan, which made Zhang Chen confused. For him, every time mathematics exams are all based on multiple choice questions. How can a person who gets more than 10 or 20 points correctly understand this? Later, with great difficulty, we brought the topic back to Mr. Chiu, the art teacher who passed away. The old lady became interested. She introduced his life experience to Zhang Chen, introduced him to Yao Fen, and added Zhang Chen's own guess. Almost. He went to Hangzhou to study at the National Art College. Chen Guan came from Japan. He went with the school to Wushu in Zheji, then to Gaixi in Jiangxi, Yuanling in Hunan, and then to Guiyang, Kunming, and Bishan in Sichuan. And finally to Shapingba in Chongqing. When the old lady was talking, Zhang Chen thought of their experience of going to Guizhou to see Li Yong. That trip took the same route as the National Art School to Guiyang, but they were driving, and they all felt it was extremely hard. At that time the teachers and students of the National Art College had to walk all the time. They were short of food and clothing, and they had to avoid Japanese bombings. Many people died of illness and accidents along the way, including Cai Yuan Pi's daughter, Cai William, a teacher at the National Art College. Zhang Chen was surprised. He asked the old lady, Grandma knew so much about the schedule of the National Art School, why did you go with her? The old lady said no, but Mr. Ila said that during that time, I suffered a lot, but when I think about it later, it was the happiest time. I kept saying it all the time, and I could remember it by heart. The old lady said that Mr. Ila went to France after being introduced by Wu Deu. Zhang Chen remembered it and thought that since the old teacher Chiu's experience was so complicated, he should also have very good works. He asked Chiu Leixin, and Chiu Leixin said that his father stopped painting later, except when he was painting. He teaches in school and draws on the blackboard. I have never seen him draw since I was a child. Yi is self-aware. The old lady said that Yi feels that he can't succeed in painting. He looks at his classmates and then his own. He feels discouraged and stops painting. If he says that he paints by himself, he is wasting paint. If he has time, he will. I took these paintings out and looked at them and enjoyed them. I never painted them again. It was Nha Chen Guang who was called by the street and painted the sea sails with the helmsman. Zhang Chen laughed. Indeed, anyone who can draw would probably be called to paint this picture on the wall. When Zhang Chen was a child, he liked to stand under the scaffolding and watch people paint this picture. When they were halfway through the meal, Chiu Leixin's younger brother Chiu Erxin arrived. Chiu Erxin was very tall and thin. When he came in, he always walked in with his back hunched and his head lowered, for fear of hitting the doorframe. When Chiu Erxin arrived, he heard that Zhang Chen and the others were here to buy paintings. The first thing he said was, "Have you seen Pan Yuliang? Pan Yuliang's paintings are now very expensive." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "I don't need Pan Yuliang's, but you can set a price for the others." Chiu Leixin glared at Chiu Erxin and quickly said, "Let's sell together." Zhang Chen took out the list and asked them if the paintings there were consistent with the list. Could they correspond one-to-one? Okay, this list was written by Allah, yeah, how could it be wrong? Chiu Leixin said. Zhang Chen looked at the list. The paintings he had seen before were all on it. There should be no discrepancies. Zhang Chen said, "Okay, there are 72 paintings in total, please give me a price." Chiu Erxin immediately said, 1.8 million, we won't sell it for even 1 cent less. Chiu Leixin kicked him under the table. He could see that Zhang Chen really wanted to buy it. In fact, they had discussed the price themselves. If someone paid back 1.6 million, they would also will sell. Chiu Leixin kicked his brother because he thought he spoke too harshly and didn't want to scare the customer away. Zhang Chen smiled and did not counter-offer, but asked them, "How will the money be delivered? Do we need to withdraw all the cash, or transfer it to one of your accounts?" The two brothers looked at each other, and the old lady said, "Just transfer it to my account. It is also troublesome to take cash and check the authenticity one by one." Zhang Chen looked at the two brothers and asked, "Do you two agree to do this?" The two brothers were still hesitating, and the old lady sneered and said, "I don't know what you two are thinking. If this painting is sold, you can go see the house yourself, and I will buy you a 2-bedroom apartment. My old lady, in an old house, a person can be quiet and quiet." When the two brothers heard what the old lady said, they became excited. The old lady then said to Chiu Erxin, "We gave the eldest son 10,000 yuan when he got married. After so many years, prices have also risen, and the meat has gone from 6 cents. 6 yuan has increased to more than 4 yuan, but don't think too much. 30,000 yuan for your marriage is enough after all." The two brothers nodded and expressed no objection. For them, the biggest headache was the house. With a house, Chiu Erxin could get married, and Chiu Leixin could do nightlife at night. The old lady continued to say, "Put the rest of the money here with me. When I die, you two brothers can come and grab it and divide it. Don't worry, I won't spend a penny of this copper. I still have my retirement salary. When the time comes, the amount of copper coins will be more or less. Boss Zhang is here, and I am not afraid of speaking harshly. I am afraid that now that I have divided this copper among you, no one will come to see my old lady during the holidays. She is sick in bed, and no one can even turn on the hot water. Chiu Leixin quickly said, "Look what mom said, the money is left with mom, why should we worry about it?" Chiu Erkson also said that mom and dad are easy to speak in all kinds of languages. The three of them talked for a long time, and Chiu Leixin remembered that the most important thing was that Zhang Chen hadn't said whether he wanted it or not. Chiu Leixin looked at Zhang Chen and asked, "Boss Zhang, how can I decide?" Zhang Chen said, "I agree, it's only 1.8 million. After dinner is ready, we will go to the bank together. After I transfer the money to grandma, I will go to your house to move the paintings." The two brothers suddenly became excited and quickly said, "Okay, we must be able to make a decision." The old lady banged her hand on the table and cursed, "How can you two be worthy of Nai's father?" The old lady told Zhang Chen that when Yi La was around, Yi La always scolded Yi La. What kind of skill could he have? Look, in the end, wouldn't he have to rely on Yi La? Chiu Leixin and Chiu Erkson smiled awkwardly at Zhang Chen, but now, it didn't matter to them what the old lady said, as long as they could buy a new house tomorrow. After eating, they walked to the ICBC nearby. Zhang Chen transferred 1.8 million to the old lady's account. Then everyone went to the old lady's house. The second-rate guy drove the car to the gate of the old bungalow. The group of people went upstairs and returned to the half of the room where the old lady lived. Chiu Leixin opened the cabinet and took out the paintings one by one. Zhang Chen took it in his hand and signed one. Yao Fen was on the list. Check off one. Erhuo and Chiu Erkson moved the paintings toward the car. The 72 paintings were quickly delivered. Zhang Chen, the old lady and the Chiu brothers were ready to say goodbye. Probably because Zhang Chen didn't even pay back the price, the old lady herself felt embarrassed. She said, "Boss Zhang was very kind, so I will pay him back. I also have something for you." She said hello to Chiu Erkson. Chiu Erkson understood. He ran into the middle room and took out a half-length portrait sculpture from under the old lady's bed and gave it to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen looked at this person and also I didn't know whether it was Hugo or Balzac, but when I looked at the signature on the base, I saw it was Xiang Bingming, and I couldn't help but be overjoyed. Chiu Leixin remembered it. He said, "Boss Zhang, wait a minute. I have another one here." He ran back to the room and brought out a sculpture of a leopard. The leopard was on all fours, and it looked like it was stepping majestically step by step. It was strange. It's the head of a leopard, but it has a human face. Chiu Leixin said, "I don't know what it is. I use it as a paperweight. I think it's too big, so I'll give it to you." Zhang Chen looked at the signature on the base and saw that it was Li Jinfa. He didn't know who this Li Jinfa was, but it was given to you with good intentions and you were embarrassed to say no, so Zhang Chen quickly said thank you, thank you. The three people got to the car, started the car and went back. Yao Fen said, "Boss, I have never seen people buying things like this. Why don't you pay back the price at all? I think their price can be paid back at least 100,000. The second-rate guy scolded, "Damn, you don't know, whatever the instructor buys, he always buys it like this. If he goes to the market twice, everyone in the market will know him." "Why?" Yao Fen asked. "The pig that can't bargain is here, it's time to kill the pig," the second guy said, and Yao Fen laughed. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "I haven't said it yet. Think about it, so many things have to be preserved. How many stories and twists and turns are there? How can I have the nerve to bargain? Also, why did I not finish reading half of the previous article? Yes. Just because I would buy the half of the items I saw for 1.8 million, and the ones I didn't see, I would treat them as if they were picked up. The main thing is that I have money," Yao Fen said. "If it were me, I would have to pay him back for 3 days if I counter-offer." "What's so good about counter-offering?" "I didn't counter-offer. Didn't you see it? They even gave me 2 sculptures. In fact, this person knows what's good." Don't think that everyone can only kill pigs, Zhang Chen said. Thank you to Dal Tin Soldier and RIRI Shushu for the reward. Thank you Wen, Shake Adjustable. Water and Youth, we Isa 99999, Fagrafderg, Insects Do Not Fly, Kandera, Exercise, Zipanjiang 1, User 229790848's monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health.